Good evening, party people, and welcome back to the Bar with an X. My name is Cameron with an X. I'll be your bartender this evening. If it wasn't already clear by what you see on the board behind me, tonight's theme at the Bar with an X is Kingdom Hearts. If you haven't been around the block here already, we've actually been playing Kingdom Hearts 1 and we got all the way through the game, and as often we do with our video game playthroughs, we also have correspondingly themed cocktails to go along with it. This time, I wanted to drink weaponry. I really wanted to put Keyblades in my mouth, but this one happens to be too big and not actually in liquid form, so I figured the next best thing to do, because we usually do libations around here, is to make some libations based off of the weapons that appear in the game. Quite a few of them, actually, including this one right here, the Kingdom Key, which, as you can see from the recipe card on the screen already, will be the first recipe of the evening. I'm trying to find a place to put my Keyblade. There we go. I'll put it down there in the corner. I see some early birds popping in already. I see Imi Chow. Hello, Imi Chow. And Annie as well. Annie says, too big. You're not trying hard enough there, champ. I mean, clearly, if I detach one piece from the other and put the thinner part in my mouth, it will be significantly easier. But depending on the way that I whack my teeth and whatnot, I don't want to incapacitate myself, because then nobody gets to see the drinks, because I haven't even done the photo shoot yet, which is something I'm supposed to be doing beforehand, but I haven't. Just a little bit of behind-the-scenes stuff there. So just to give everybody a bit of a lay of the land first before we go into the cocktail part of things, Kingdom Hearts 1 is over. The people have spoken, and according to the poll that we had right in our Discord server, I wouldn't say overwhelming majority, but everybody wants to see more Kingdom Hearts. Everybody wants to see Chain of Memories after the fact. So I think the option was more Kingdom Hearts 1 or some Chain of Memories, and then we'll do Kingdom Hearts 2 after the fact, just to, big shocking news or anything. It's not like we're changing series yet, but stick around to see if maybe your favorite game gets featured here at the Bar with an X. We'll do a whole playthrough of it, and we'll have themed cocktails associated with it too. It's great. It's a win-win. I get to drink, and you get to watch me drink. And seriously, what could be better than that? He says quasi-sarcastically. I have a good time with that. So in any case, let's get right into things. The first cocktail that I have to present to you all in the theme of Kingdom Hearts Keyblades is the Kingdom Key. It's this thing. This is the Kingdom Key. Check out this really awesome prop that somebody from the community made. It's Annie. Annie made this one, and it looks super duper good. I actually do have a small piece of critique though. Annie, evidently the handlebar over here is upside down. It's supposed to be turned 180 degrees. Somebody on TikTok decided to correct me on that. They're like, "Why is it backwards?" And I was like, "Look at that. It kind of is." It's great. It's absolutely great. Please do not think that this is anything that makes this prop any less. It is beautiful, and I love the fact that I get to continue using it throughout the rest of the series and stuff, which is freaking amazing. Don't feel too bad about it. It's a beautiful piece of craftsmanship, and from what I've been told, you're working on a version 2 anyways, so growing pains, right? So let's make the Kingdom Key cocktail, the simple and clean cocktail, aka we're gonna talk a little bit about it, and then we'll talk about it as we drink. I want to get to the drink first, and then we talk about it as we're making the drink. This one will be a slight exception though. This cocktail uses a technique called clarification, in the sense where you let me back up a second. This particular cocktail uses a clarification technique that involves filtering, so it is going to take a little bit of time for the cocktail to clarify, completely filter out, and get into a form where we actually want to drink it without all the curds and whatnot that will be happening, because we're mixing acid with things that have a lot of protein in it. Coconut milk in this case. So it will take a little bit. So depending on how long things go on the clarification, as I talk to y'all, we chat around a little bit, I might kind of inch into the next cocktail recipe a little bit just so we keep things moving around here. But let's see when we get there. The first thing I'm gonna do is put things in a container and curdle it, because it's that clarification, right? You've probably seen it around here before, potentially, but essentially, if you've ever had milk spoil, if you've ever had specifically cow's milk or coconut milk or almond milk or otherwise, things can get a little weird when they spoil. Bacterial cultures can appear inside of your liquid, things kind of curdle a little bit, and it gets a little weird. That's how you make cheese in some cases. That's how you make cocktails in other cases. So it's gonna be great. Let's grab our ingredients and get them all ready, and then we'll get right into it. For this one, we're gonna need some coconut milk, coconut rum, white rum, some saline solution, and a bit of citric acid. So let's get all of our ingredients. And the other thing that I'll mention you're gonna need a cocktail glass to drink this out of. You're going to need a filter, you're gonna need a funnel, and you're gonna need at least a couple containers to move the various different parts of the process through. I'm starting myself off with one of these highball glasses. I'm probably gonna grab another one before putting things into a mixing glass to stir, dilute, and then put into the cocktail glass, which is currently chilling right now. This is chilling, right? Yeah. This one's definitely chilling somewhere. I don't remember if this one uses ice or not yet. Got some coconut milk. We've got some white rum. I've got coconut rum, a gift to the bar with an X. Thank you, Annie. We also need, what else do we need? Coconut milk, coconut, saline solution, and citric acid. I got my saline solution in a little container, and citric acid is down here. This is the acid that we were going to be using to curdle the coconut milk in this case. While I was workshopping this, I didn't really want any lemon juice flavors in there, no lime juice flavors, none of the other flavors that go in with the juices that are normally used for acid and whatnot. So you can use just pure citric acid. In this case, the flavors that would be imparted by it, that sour tang, are kind of balanced out by the other components in this drink. In particular, the sweetness that comes from this Danku rum over here, as well as the slight sweetness imparted by the coconut milk. So let's get things started. What I will do, before I add the citric acid, is I will take the cocktail angle over so we can kind of see as that curdling and clarification begin to happen. It's gonna be great. I see Imi Chow's out there saying that she's sipping some blueberry wine right now. A recommendation, by the way. The blueberry wines, so around our area, we're in Philadelphia. New Jersey is very close by. They are known for their blueberries and also known for their blueberry wines. And we've tasted, I don't know if I've tasted this one that Amy Chow is referring to yet, but I know we've tried at least one of them from, I think it was Tomasello Winery. And Tomasello does some pretty good fruit wines. They have a lot of different wines, let me tell you. So in our glass, this is not our cocktail glass, this is not a shaker glass, this is not a mixing tin or anything like that. We're just gonna put it on a regular glass. This is where the science is happening. We're gonna add 3 ounces of coconut milk. This container does not like to pour very well, so in case I spill things, it's okay. So we got 3 ounces of this, just about 88 milliliters, I think, for our folks across the pond. Oddly enough, depending on what jigger I'm using, it's either a base of 60 milliliters per 2 ounces or a base of 50 milliliters per quote-unquote 2 ounces. This one is 2 ounces, so this is 30 and 60 respectively on both sides of this. I'm also spilling a little bit on the floor. It's okay. Everything is fine. I actually do like drinking coconut milk, so I am likely going to go back and drink this. So I'm going to put this back in the fridge so it doesn't get weird in a way that I don't want it to. There are ways that I want things to get weird, and there are some ways that I don't want things to get weird, you know? When you're making, we're doing a little bit of a fermentation experimentation, not here at the Bar with an X, but in one of our sister locations, and we're working on fermenting things, and I've been all over r/fermenting, r/mead, and r/wine, and if it's mold, that's the bad kind of weirdness. If it's various different types of yeast colonies and whatnot, that's the good kind of weirdness. We're also gonna need 1 ounce each of your coconut rum or your Bacardi white rum. In this case, I'll start with this one. We've got 1 ounce of coconut rum. Technically, you could use a Malibu here. To me, Malibu is really, really sweet, and I didn't want that sweetness to be too overpowering. I'll get to the full inspiration of this cocktail a little bit later, but this is a simple and clean drink. I don't want things to be like out in your face, a little too jarring, a little too biting, a little too sweet or otherwise. Things are in balance. Things are simple. Things are clean. Despite the fact that it's called simple and clean, the process here is not that simple. If you batch a hell of a lot of this ahead of time, it's very simple to serve it. You stir it with some ice, pour it out into a glass. It's that easy. The garnish can get a little bit intense though, but that's also okay. Now let's go for a white rum. A little bit of this here. 1 ounce of white rum. There we go. Things are looking great so far. Things are looking wonderful. I'll put these ingredients away as I use them so as to not crowd up the bar too much. I tend to keep most of my spirits below the bar, but sometimes the specialty stuff just kind of gets shoved off to the side over here. It's It's a little crowded back here. That's okay. To balance out the flavors a little bit, we're gonna add 2 to 3 drops of saline solution. This is a little weak of a saline solution, so I'm gonna add 3 drops. 1, 2, 3 drops of saline solution. I don't need that anymore. Not for this cocktail. We'll move on. I see Imichao saying Don Q orange is amazing. Yeah, the naranja in there. I think that's what it says on the bottle. Spanish is wonderful. They all have a very, like, appreciable sweetness. It's not too overpowering. Imichao's also saying, and while I bought Tomasello blueberry wine, I'm sipping the Bellevue right now. I haven't heard of that one. Is that the one that you were messaging me about? Because I'm curious. I'm very curious to try it. So, now, things have actually begun to curdle ever so slightly. I don't know if it's necessarily a curdle, but I do see a lot of particulate matter in here. I don't know if I shook that coconut cream or that coconut milk enough to get things fully constituted together. But here's the fun part. Now we're gonna purposely curdle things, and hopefully we can get a kind of nice view of things as they happen. You're cockeyed. That's not what I want. Let's try this. This and a little bit to the side. There we go. We got our rum, we've got our milk. Let's add acid. Clearly that's what I mean here. So what we're gonna do is add a bit of citric acid. The recipe specifically calls for 0.3 grams of citric acid, and although I'm not gonna specifically measure that out, I have a tiny little stirring spoon. And I have found, on average, that one tiny scoop of this stirring spoon is about 0.3 grams. So let's take a little scoop, a little bit of citric acid, drop that in, start giving it a stir. It may take a little bit for this to get started, but once it does, you'll know. We'll just kind of give that a little stir for a little bit. A little bit of chemistry class before we continue with things. I see Imichao saying, no, I was messaging you about the Valenzano. They have an entire line of Fort Port, including a blueberry port. That sounds delightful. That world of fortified wines like ports, sherries, Madeiras, or I guess that's not considered fortified. No, aromatized wines or vermouths. Yes, that world of fortified wines like port, sherries, Madeira, and whatnot. I want to go more depth into. For the Disney cocktails that we were developing for the charity stream, I bought a bottle of Amontillado sherry because that was the one that I think it spoke to me most for the Dreamfinder cocktail at the time. And trying that was like a whole new world of sips and whatnot. I've read in some of the Cocktail Codex books, the Death & Co books, that certain sherries have certain flavor characteristics about them. And I think the Amontillado one struck out as being very heavy on notes of like roasted nuts. And I've had things that have tasted nutty before, but nothing that really screamed like full-on flavor, like the smell of roasted nuts in New York City, or like just the smell of put some almonds in the oven. That kind of smell. Well, that sherry is so good. I wouldn't say it's necessarily just roasted nut, but that flavor of roast and savor and deep, almost a salty characteristic was so palatable in that bottle of Amontillado sherry. The one that I'm talking about, by the way, is this one. It's a Lustau Amontillado Los Arcos. It is signed to mark the Soleras. So I'm inclined to think that this is made via a Solera process, where they kind of take a little bit from each year and keep pushing it over into the next barrel. I believe that's considered the Solera process. So, I'm gonna keep stirring this a little bit. It does take a little bit to get started, but once this begins to clarify, you will see a very noticeable layer of clear on the bottom and thick begin to almost rapidly rise to the top. This is the first part of remaining patient as it pertains to cocktails. This recipe, by the way, can be scaled up to more or less as much as you want it to be. You might want to just double check the math on the citric acid, because the scale that I was using to determine this particular ratio is not quite exact down to the level of 0.1 or even 0.01 grams. I need to get another one of those that is a little bit better. I think the scale that I have, it's like cheap kitchen scale. I want to say the resolution's only reliable to like maybe 0.5 grams or something, and I've just discovered that with time. I have absolutely no idea what brand this thing is. I don't even remember really where I got it from. So I can't even give a recommendation of what not to buy because I don't remember what the brand is. And the label on the bottom is just scratched out. This is just says made in China. Household digital food scale. It's this one. So that's the one that we got. So, still got things going around here a little bit. I can see a bit of curdle collecting upon the spoon here. I'll just agitate this a little bit more and keep it stirring a little bit. Try to get the acid all completely acclimated to all different parts of this. And if all else fails, if it doesn't completely curdle out, that is okay. We'll just add a little bit more citric acid to continue kicking off the process. To be fair, as I was planning out the different order for these particular cocktails, I was thinking about doing the most exciting one first. The most exciting one is coming last. This is probably the most boring one because you have to sit around and wait a little bit. But, how's your vibe check this evening? This is a chance to vibe check. What song is playing right now? I opted for using the Synthwave playlist for this stream because Disney and Kingdom Hearts have been very, very particular about copyright marking all of my videos. Look at that, Annie with the vibe check. Nice, nice, very good. Where's a party horn down here? I keep rearranging them. That's our vibe over here. With a 7 months is your sub count. My goodness. We're almost getting old enough to be born. Unless you're a preemie, in which case you can come out anytime that you want to. So, I can see things beginning to form. I'm not sure if y'all can notice it, but at the very bottom here, it is clear, very slightly clear, and that level of clearness appears to be getting bigger and bigger every little bit. Let me adjust the angle a little bit so we can get a better view of that. It's a slow and steady process. That's okay. What have y'all been up to recently? I did a whole stream the other day about telling you how my honeymoon was, so how was your honeymoon? How was your cruise? How was Alaska? Adjust this just slightly. I could be a little particular about the way the cocktail angle is set up and how it appears for everybody, for those in the vertical chat or for those in the other chats as well. It's fun stuff. Yeah, this is going ever so slowly. I feel like I did have this happening quicker when I was developing the cocktail, but again, the measurements of how much citric acid actually went in here is a little off. I'll go back to what I was saying before about you can batch this recipe. You can scale it up to pretty much as you want to. You can use a lot of coconut milk, use a whole bottle of the coconut Danku or the non-coconut Bacardi, and so long as you have enough acid in there to completely curdle the whole batch, you can strain the whole thing out. It will take a number of hours, but you will have a batch of totally clear drink out the other side that you can put on ice and drink at your leisure. Get a little chilled glass and really set the mood a little bit, maybe sit on the beach, grab yourself a paopu fruit, and everything will be just fine. It's continuing, it's getting better. And he says, I have experienced none of those things recently. Not Alaska, not cruise, not honeymoon. That's okay. However, I'm sure there's other things though. And he's saying, what was my favorite part of Kingdom Hearts 1? My favorite part? Dude, what was it? How many times did it take to beat Riku? That was probably my favorite part of the entire playthrough. It was specifically suffering through the Riku battle. That one was like, it was both equally frustrating as it was entertaining. I actually kind of like difficult gameplay. And I think in retrospect, having set the difficulty of Kingdom Hearts 1 to be on the easiest difficulty, or whatever the easy difficulty is equivalent to, felt like kind of a mistake. I think I get a little bit anxious about not being good enough about the game to put on a good show or to keep things moving forward and whatnot, but evidently, I've got some pretty good gamer chops here. So maybe we'll do things on a higher difficulty when we get the Chain of Memories. It'll be fun. That was also one of my faves, says Annie. It was very, very hyped. There was a lot of stuff going on, and I really, really appreciated it. The mods were also killing it out there. Annie, you included. Amy Chow saying, I finished reading a book for the first time in eons. That's the extent of my current excitement. That's great. What kind of book were you reading? The most recent book I read was like a nonfiction type, learning type of book. I don't know what you would call The Tipping Point by Malcolm Gladwell. Self-help even? Research? I don't really know. I've been receiving recommendations for reading things similar to that one book stream that I'm not really allowed to talk about. Maybe there'll be more. Maybe there will be more. The clarification is taking its sweet old time. I will stir this up a little bit more. Try to see if I can agitate things a little bit more. I'm like, let me give this a little taste actually to see if it could use a little more citric acid. That could use a little more. I'm gonna add a little bit more acid to kick things up. I don't think you'd have to adjust the recipe at all. That 0.3 grams, I'm almost certain, is still okay or measurement. I just might not have done a very heavy pour in the stir. Thank you for bearing with me, cocktail people. Oh, actually. Never mind. I will not be adding more. We just needed to be more patient. Now it's going. That's what I'm looking for. There we go. This is what I'm looking for. Check that out. Kid, look at that. Welcome in, kid. What do we got? It's 10 months so far? We were talking about how any sub is almost being born. Yours is out and crying now. Thank you so much. Thank you very much for that. That's gonna go into one of the many budgets that exist around here, either the blender budget or the other blender budget. I don't even know. So, as you can see now, this is now rapidly separating out. All it took was a little bit of time. Does anybody have a time check of how long we've been sitting here waiting for this thing to curdle? Because it's been a hot minute. But that's just the whole thing, you know? It's all a waiting game. So like I was saying before, once this thing really starts going, once those proteins begin to curdle and mass up and whatnot, this thing starts moving at a relatively quick pace. This was all opaque before. Now it's got some transparency to it, and it will continue at this rate for a little bit while longer. But this is the point where I wanted to get to. This is at a point where I feel comfortable beginning to move on to the next step, which will be filtering things out so that it is perfectly clear. Simple and clean, dare I say. So, after a while, things will curdle, things will separate. This is what that little bit of citric acid. That's what pure acid is gonna do to your proteins. Watch out. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna grab another container. Actually, you know what? We're gonna do this in a mixing glass, because that is eventually what we're going to add ice to and stir things in. So now at this point, once this begins to separate out, grab a mixing glass, a funnel, and a filter. I got the filter. I gotta get the funnel now. Where the funnel at? There's the funnel at. Will that work? Hell yeah! There we go. Actually, wait, not yet. One more container. There's a whole process to this. So, when you begin to clarify things, it is very possible that the first little bit of your clarification is gonna come out a little bit cloudy, and that's okay. Not my proteins, says kid. All of your proteins. If you spit in the cocktail, technically your proteins are in there. I'm not saying you should, nor that I want you to, but it is technically an option. In any case, when you are clarifying things, sometimes your solution is going to come out a little bit cloudy first. It pays to have a separate container to let things get really clear and then start transferring over into your final container. So let's take container number 2 and pour things in. Oh. Some of that got onto the other side of my funnel. That's okay. I'll just grab another. Kind of push this out a little bit. There we go. Pour on in. There we go. Don't need this glass anymore. Put that down there. I see Imicha saying the book that she's reading was about the author navigating auditory processing disorder with her son in his early childhood, like Sound Through Water by Dr. Karen J. Foyle. That sounds really cool. And apparently The Tipping Point is a sociology book. Maybe. The genres of how books and whatnot are arranged, I leave those up to the experts at the library, as well as Barnes & Noble. They seem to know what's happening here. So, once this begins to come out clear, then what we'll do is take the funnel and move it to a mixing glass. And take the liquid from our cloudy container and pour it back over top. And then technically, we don't really need this glass either. Being very wasteful on my glassware this evening. And after a time, this whole cocktail will strain out. But that might take a little bit. And we spent a lot of time on this stuff already, so what I'm gonna do is start preparing for the next cocktail, which will involve a little process of, we're gonna do some rapid infusing around here, which might take a little bit of time, but no worries. I'm not even gonna spoil the recipe for you, but it's a turmeric-based cocktail. And I'll throw out there, I want y'all to guess what Keyblade the next cocktail is. And for those of you who know where to find it, don't spoil the answer, because there are places that have spoiled the answer for you. Don't ruin the fun for the rest of us. You know who you are. So for the next drink, we are going to need to infuse some gin. This is our old pal whipped cream maker, and we're gonna use our old pal nitrous gas, nitrogen dioxide, in order to get things rolling. I see Kid cheering yet again, saying, Agraba? That's a pretty valid guess. It might even be correct. It might even be correct. I need coasters. Coasters for this mixing glass. There we go, put that off to the side. While our Simple and Clean continues to filter, we're going to create some Turmeric-Infused Gin. So for this one, I'm actually gonna need to be very, very careful because I forgot my gloves downstairs. So the next cocktail is gonna use some rapidly infused turmeric gin. For that, we're going to need some turmeric. We're gonna need some gin. I'm gonna grab a bottle of Plymouth Gin down here, and we're gonna combine this inside of the whipped cream maker and put it under pressure so as to make the gin go inside of the turmeric and then rapidly void the container of its contents, the air at least, to rip it all back out of the turmeric, giving a very, very beautiful, dare I say, glowing orange color. Turmeric is a very, very orange root. It's related to ginger in a way, and it stains. So when you're cutting your turmeric, I would recommend using gloves. I had gloves that I was using, but they're downstairs and they don't fit me. They're way too tight. It would take forever for me to put it on and forever for me to take them off too. So it's just a pain. So let's get a knife instead and be very careful with the knife and your fingers and do something different. Kid saying, sounds like a sensitive maneuver. Slapping the turmeric as we always do. Check it. Slap the turmeric. Anyways, so what we're gonna do is we'll cut this turmeric into small little coin-sized pieces. We're gonna weigh that turmeric in grams, and then we're gonna add it to the container and add a corresponding amount of gin to it as well. So let's cut this thing. Chop that turmeric. Chop that turmeric. Chop that turmeric. Chop that turmeric. And then we move on to the other turmeric, trying very hard not to stain our fingies. Check out this knife. That's sharp and dirty. Chop that turmeric. Chop that turmeric. Chop. That's all there is. That's all there is to the turmeric. The knife is done. Put the knife away. Put your dirty knife away. And continue onwards. I see consumption happening there. A little bit of the turmeric. Let's put a little turmeric. What happens if you bite into turmeric? That's a very valid point there. This is turmeric root. I've cut it into small little coin-sized pieces, and chat says eat. Actually, not that bad. I would say, like, it's, despite the color, don't be fooled, it is kind of carrot-like. Like, if carrots were more bitter, I could see that. I ate it too fast. Not Cam, ignoring my redemption. What do you mean? I saw it! I just did it! I didn't get to it fast enough. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Anyways, we got our cut turmeric here, and I'm not choking anymore, which is a very, very good thing, according to some at least. Let's take a scale and see how much turmeric that we have. We'll put this into a spare container. I don't know. What's a container we don't care about? How about this one? that. Tear this out. Tear it out. Tear it out. Thank you so much. Put your turmeric in there. How many grams of tum do we got? How many grams of tum? Don't stain your fingies. Don't stain your fingies. Don't stain your fingies. Don't stain your fingies. We've got 40.3 grams of turmeric. So, if we have 40.3 grams of turmeric, we need a certain amount of gin in milliliters. The formula for this, according to Liquid Intelligence by Dave Arnold, I got the recipe out of his book for turmeric-infused Plymouth Gin that he would use in his Glow Sour cocktail. His formula is for every 100 grams of turmeric, we have 500 milliliters of gin. Because we have 40.3 grams, we're gonna have a certain amount of gin that we add to the solution. Let's do some math. How about we flip this around and we multiply that by that and then divide. So we have 500 times 40. I like math. Let me get a calculator out. How much gin do we need? Let's try it. I need calculator. Let's do 40.3 times 500 divided by 100 equals 201.5 milliliters. 201.5 milliliters. We'll try to approximate that and put that inside of the whipped cream maker, which is not whipping cream. It's infusing gin. So let's get some of that. Question from Kids, or Kids saying I have to sign off now. Have a good stream. Thank you for popping in, Kid. Your subscription and bits will not go to waste. I will probably turn them into alcohol. I will distill them. That's what I'll do. Annie says, good night, Kid. Thanks for joining. And also, why gin? Gin is just the recommendation by Dave Arnold. You would use gin in this case, I would think, because gin has a very floral quality to it. Sometimes your gins are going to have these like sort of qualities that are a bit more citrusy and whatnot. And I want to say that there is a flavor combo of turmeric to things that have citrus or even some floral qualities to it that just really go well here. It's technically a question for Dave Arnold because this is straight out of his book. He pairs it with a bit of sourness and a little bit of other stuff. I actually don't have his recipe off the top of my head. Check out Liquid Intelligence. That'll be the one to find. I see the Upper Diamond popping in saying, finally caught a stream. Hello there. Hello, Upper Diamond. Welcome to the Bar with an X, where video game cocktails come to life and people drink weaponry. Specifically Keyblades in this case. Isn't that impressive? The answer is no. You don't have to. You don't have to agree with me though. In any case, we've got 40.3 grams of turmeric. We're gonna add that to our whipped cream maker, our EC Whipper, for those who utilize a different brand. Add our turmeric. Add our turmeric carefully. We're getting the whole grams in there, so kind of blow this piece off that fell upon the floor. Get rid of this dirty glass. We don't need that no more. And we're gonna add, we're gonna round down, or maybe round up a little bit to about 200 milliliters. For every 60 milliliters, that I'd say is about, oh, actually, no, wait, I got it. I got my metric jigger over here, which measures in increments of 50 milliliters. So, let's just measure like that. I need about 200 milliliters of gin to 40.3 grams of turmeric. So, let's measure out 200 milliliters of gin, shall we? Here is 50. Here is 100. Let's do 2 more of these, and I think we'll be good. I see Brad saying he's a good guy. Brad, welcome in! Mr. More Than Awesome! More than awesome as he is. And Annie's saying he's pretty okay. No, that's fair. Yeah, I'm alright. I have a very high opinion of myself. Feel free to roast me. I don't mind. You can't bring me down. Bet. Just try to insult the bartender. If you succeed at making him feel bad, he'll just stop making drinks and then everybody loses. So take that into account. Now this does call for 201 milliliters of gin, so I'm just gonna correct for any errors and just like... Okay, that might have been a little much, but it's fine. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. It's probably okay. I have really done a number on this Plymouth Gin. This is really good, by the way. Plymouth Gin is very nice. I think it tends to be on the citrusier side of things. Who am I to tell you what's right or wrong? In any case, let's take this cutting board out of here. I don't need it again for just a little bit of time. We'll take the top of a whipped cream maker and pop it on. We're gonna need 2 nitrogen charges for this one. So I'm gonna go into my collection and go grab those, and we'll charge this up. Now the nuance here is, according to Dave Arnold in his recipe, we need to infuse this for 2.5 minutes with this ratio. If you were combining 100 grams of turmeric with 500 milliliters of gin, you would infuse this for about 2.5 minutes. So I'm gonna do about maybe like 1.5 minutes because we're a little down to half, and I'm probably gonna be talking for a little while anyway, so I think that'll be okay. So let's get this thing going with some nitrogen charges, 2 of them, and then we'll start a timer, right? That'll be great. I see Brad saying he's also lost to Volleyball Boy a lot. Wait, this dude like Riku like 14 times? Is he Basketball Boy? Oh, no, wait, I don't remember who Basketball Boy is. Was that in Kingdom Hearts? I don't remember. All right. That's 1 cartridge. Give that a bit of a shake. Get that all knowing each other. And then charge it up number 2. Alexa, set a timer for 1.5 minutes. There we go, there we go, there we go. Annie's saying playing on easy mode too with the game. I really did. Upper Diamond says, don't mind me not sending any messages. Upper Diamond, you are free to sit and watch. You can lurk for a little while, say as much as you'd like to, say as little as you like to. It doesn't matter. I imagine it this way. If y'all were people sitting at my bar, I'm not gonna tell you to get out just because you haven't ordered a drink. That makes 0 sense. The manager can kick you out because you're not spending money, but the bartender certainly won't. At least not me. I'm not the bartender who's gonna kick you out. There are other people in this world, however, who would do that. I'm gonna put you over to recycling. Those nitrogen canisters, by the way, can be recycled, so if you have the ability to do so, I would recommend it. Put some of my boxes away. Oh, hello there. The timer's about to go off, and then we need to depressurize this rapidly, and then get things going. In the background, our Kingdom Key cocktail has been clarifying, and it looks beautiful, dare I say. Brad says he repeatedly smacked you in the face with the volleyball. Oh, is that what Riku did? What a guy. Hate that Riku guy. I see Upper Diamond saying a little busy and need some background noise. If that's fine, totally fine, totally fine. Just let me know if background noise to you is screaming into the microphone or whispering into the microphone. I'm just gonna keep doing what I'm doing, but I'm very curious because one person said that my chaotic ramblings and whatnot are totally calming, and that's their opinion. Alexa, stop. Thank you. So now what we're gonna do, grab a container that you don't really care about. It's gonna be this one, and try as fast as you can, but as carefully as you can to void the pressure in this container. If you do it too fast, you'll know. Nope, I did it too fast. What did I tell you? If you do it too fast, it'll just start spurting out of the container. And now I have turmeric staining my fingers, staining my arms. Oh my goodness, this is great. Willpower, I see you popping in. How you doing? I am back. It's true. We're back at the bar with X. We got cocktails to spare. There's a little bit of gin in there, and that's okay. Now I can take this off, and we can let it rest for a little bit. I don't know if y'all can hear this. However, right now the turmeric is bubbling. I'm gonna try to put this up to the microphone so y'all can actually hear this, and I'm gonna up the gain just for a little bit, just so y'all can hear. Let's hear. I don't know if y'all could hear that, but there's some rumbling. There's a little bit of hissing and stuff in there. So basically, we're gonna let this rest for a little bit as the turmeric unbubbles. What just happened was the gin has been thrust into the turmeric, and it was just ripped back out of it. So right now it's kind of bubbling. It's coming to temperature. It's coming back to pressure. So we're gonna let this sit off to the side as we go back to simple and clean, and then we'll separate this out and be ready for the next cocktail. We're putting things in a particular order around here. Isn't that cool? I want to get my bar wet. So there we go, right over there. Upper Diamond saying the loud people screaming into the microphone. It's good stuff. Well, that's good, because we can do that. Willpower says, hit me up with the rum and coke. You got it. Here's what kind of rum you want. Here's dark rum, and then the Coca-Cola's over there, but just believe me when I say it, I poured you a good one. That's more rum than there is Coke. I got you. So let's go back to simple and clean. As we've been talking, things have been filtering out. Things have been continuing to filter out. And although it still has some more filtering to go, I want to make sure I give you guys some tasting notes as well as some inspiration behind how the cocktail came to be. So let's get right into that. It's going to be a little shy. The wash line is not going to be very, very good, and we'll stir for a little bit less amount of time, just because. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to grab the stirring glass that I have already. I'll grab another spare container. Let's grab this guy, put this over top of here to get the extra simple and clean. Pop that off to the side. I'm gonna add ice to this container and we're just gonna go and shake, right? Look at that, I saw that. Thank you, Willpower. That was very cool. I appreciate it when you tip the bartender. Where's my thing? I'm getting all tongue-tied and twisted. Now that this is all filtered, let's add a bit of ice to it. Let's stir it. Actually, better yet, even before we get to the stirring part, let's do one other thing. We need a glass to put this in. And that glass is not gonna be that piece of ice. Oh, what just fell? Oh, that's not important. That's fine. I actually need to go to my reference book over here. I can't remember what glass this uses. I'm all over the place today, y'all. It's good to be back. It's good to be back behind our bar. Annie says to put the gain back. I did put the gain back. You're gonna have to add the SFX in post, boss. Oh, man. I appreciate your feedback. This one goes into, I know what glass this goes in. This was a pain in the balls, dude. This was annoying. Check this out. I have a specially prepared glass for the occasion. If you didn't already know by the picture of the Kingdom Key, it's got a little silver Mickey keychain on it. So this glass has a little silver Mickey on it. This is the best silver Mickey that I could come up with. I think it looks pretty good. This is just edible silver leaf that has been meticulously cut to look like definitely not copyrighted material, but definitely also Mickey Mouse's face and whatnot. So this one actually took 2 hours to do. I would not recommend you trying to follow in my footsteps. I tried everything from painting on the glass with some sugar water and letting it adhere naturally, just straight up taking the silver leaf and throwing it at the glass itself. It was not doing very well. So the thing that I was able to do was basically cut around it very meticulously and take that little silver leaf that is shaped like Mickey Mouse and just put that on. And that seemed to work after about 2 hours. I've also completely run out of edible silver leaf, so although I'd really like to show you all how to do this, I don't have video footage of it occurring. I'll get to that. I promise I will. Okay, now let's add ice to the glass. We don't actually need to prepare the glass for this one, because the glass has already been prepared by a very tired Cameron when it was made. I mean, a very tired Cameron when it was made. Ice to our glass. A little bit of hand flavoring in there too, because that's what we have access to. The hands, I guess, are kind of flavored like turmeric now, if you think about it. And he says, you're right, Steamboat Willie isn't copyrighted. You're right. You're right. But it is trademarked. Well, got a little bit more of that. Let's put that in here before we begin to stir. Take your solution and stir it until it comes to a dilution level that you are okay with. Just like that. Steamboat and me? You know, do you go by Willie? Willpower? Because if you do, should you find yourself on a steamboat, you could effectively call yourself Steamboat Willie. But you have to be kind about it, or else nobody grants your wishes. Especially not a genie. Foreshadowing. So in case it seems weird that I'm staring at the camera for a prolonged period of time while stirring, it's because, yes, it actually takes a while. How long? Experts say that going any longer than 30 seconds doesn't matter if you use the proper ice. If you use the wrong type of ice, anything more than 10 seconds can sometimes be pretty bad. If you use a big cube of ice, you'll be stirring for a while. I think I remember doing a little, I was rereading through Liquid Intelligence, and the science of stirring in a glass, it adds temperature, or rather subtracts it, and adds dilution. So depending on what kind of ice you use, generally affects how fast things are going to cool and dilute. Very large ice cubes take a while. You'll be stirring for a while. I've seen the recommendation go that if you're trying to do things in a relatively short amount of time, just use whatever ice you have on hand. If it's too small, like shaved ice, your dilution's gonna be all out of whack because there's a lot of surface area and things are just going to melt rapidly and it might really water down your drink. This is good. This feels good to me. So now, I hope you are okay out there. The ambulance as it goes by. Willpower says, a handful of people call me Willie. Nobody ever calls me Will anymore. Really? Do you go by William? Perhaps? What is your preferred name? How shall I refer to you, Mr. Power? Whoop, whoop. Whoop, whoop goes the ambulance. All right. Let's put Simple and Clean in a glass, shall we? We're gonna strain this over top of a clear ice sphere. I prepared a chill, clear ice sphere. We're gonna pop that over here into the glass, trying not to break anything, and we will strain that over top. And this is Simple and Clean. I'll put this off to the side. I might use that more later. When you walk away, you don't hear me say, please, oh baby, don't go. Simple and clean is the way that this cocktail tastes tonight. It kind of really does. That's good stuff. This is great. So this is the Kingdom Key cocktail, aka Simple and Clean. It is very light on flavor. It kind of just tastes like coconut water, but like a little less intense. It is the only real notes that I'm getting there are coconut, and not even like a sweet coconut, not a coconut cream, not even barely a coconut milk. It's like a coconut water. You know, it's just like, the drink is hint of coconut. And I really like that. In terms of like breaking that down a little bit farther, there is a slight note of almond to it, because to me, coconuts kind of taste like almond. There is almost something a little airy going on there. I want to say it tastes tropical, but minus all the fruity tropical notes that you might be used to when people say things taste tropical. It's got no mango. It's got no passion fruit. It's got no lime. But it does have the coconut. And it wasn't actually shaken, it was stirred, much to everyone's dismay. But it's also perfectly clear. I will say that there are some appreciable notes in there that are very rum forward, but it's an appreciable kind of rum. There is a lot of dilution in here, relatively speaking, both from the stirring, but also from the coconut milk that has had most of the protein stripped out of it. It's very, very light on flavor. And I like that very, very much. And I like how the in my mouth, there is a slight air of coconut, just the way that I like it. It's almost like I just ate like a piece of coconut and have since swallowed and gone on with my day. I really like that. So it's great. Glorious, I see you popping in. Welcome. I put a seat of you at my bar as you say hello. Is it hard to let go? Is it hard to let it go? It's really hard to let it go. Like, this is, like, in all honesty, giving a little bit of background of how this cocktail came to be. I started off with a concept of the Kingdom Key. I really, really wanted to capture the base Keyblade, the one that you see in every single game, in a way that is reminiscent not only just of its simplicity, but also like dialing back to where it all began. And I knew that I wanted to take some inspiration from Destiny Isles, which is the home of Sora, Kairi, Riku, and a couple other Final Fantasy characters whose names I can't even remember anymore. And I know there's coconuts on the island. And so I grabbed the bottle of coconut rum, I grabbed the bottle of pineapple rum, and I was like, I don't want to do a pina colada with this, but I know I want to clarify it. Going into a little bit about Keyblades, with my very limited knowledge, the Kingdom Key is from the realm of light. I think whatever Keyblade that Riku uses is from the realm of darkness. So in thinking of the realm of light, I really wanted to take something and completely clarify it. Only after going through the process of mixing up a drink and painstakingly trying to put the characteristic Silver Mickey keychain on here was I like, simple and clean. I don't think it needs anything else. It should just be simply coconut, clean coconut. Nothing else mucking up the drink. Very straightforward. And this is a very, very straightforward cocktail. It has at least 2 ounces of alcohol in it, so this will mess you up, but it does not taste like it has booze in it. At all. It's good. And that's how the Kingdom Key came to be. You'll notice that the other, the Kingdom Key has like a kind of yellow sheen to it, but I kind of pulled mostly the color inspiration from the metal that's on it. So that's your Kingdom Key cocktail. And that's how you make it. There's actually more of it still kind of filtering out over here. That just might be a snack for later. But at this point, I think it's safe to move on to the next cocktail, which we kind of already started a little bit. So let me put this to the side. And there's not much cleanup to do. It's time to just move on. So let me grab a little coaster. I'm thinking of Destiny Isles like the water. So I'm going to use this Catan tile flipped upside down. There we go. So, I see Gloria saying, what do you think of that Mufasa trailer? I didn't watch the Mufasa trailer. Somebody the other day was saying whether I watched the new Minecraft movie trailer, and I did watch it after the stream. I don't remember who asked me about it. That was weird. The Minecraft movie trailer was weird. I haven't watched the Mufasa trailer yet. Amy Chow saying, if you don't mind me saying, the simple and clean seem to have a rather complex, it's really rather complex in the process. You're right. You're right. The drink is simple and clean. And technically speaking, if you batch this all out ahead of time, let it clarify and curdle and whatnot ahead of time, it's actually very simple to drink. Just take the solution, put it over some ice, and that's it. So, I mean, I would argue that it's pretty simple, but you gotta put a little bit of work in. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. So, moving on to the next cocktail. The next Keyblade cocktail is the Three Wishes Keyblade, specifically the Keyblade that you get as Sora in Kingdom Hearts when you seal the keyhole in Agrabah, the land of Aladdin. This one is actually very simple. This is actually probably simpler than the simple and clean Kingdom Key cocktail, but you do have to put in some work to get this turmeric gin. So, unbeknownst to you, because I already showed you how to make turmeric gin. I made some ahead of time, and this is what it's gonna look like. But what we will do is take some of this and pour it into our container. So what we're gonna grab is once your turmeric gin is done infusing, grab yourself a little fine mesh strainer, grab a funnel, and merely strain this out. We're gonna try to catch all the turmeric. Check out that color. Check out that color. Damn. It's so vibrant looking. It is so vibrant looking. So I believe that was all the turmeric in my container. There's a little bit left. Oh, don't fall in. There we go. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take one of the filters. Well, ideally, I don't have enough thing to get the filters. Ideally, we'll want to squeeze this turmeric and get all the juice out of it. Not like squeeze it, like completely crush the damn thing. Just enough with your fingers to be able to do so. Like I said, I had gloves, and I don't have the gloves right now, so I'm gonna use a coffee filter. I'm just gonna squeeze on this a little bit, try to get some more juice out of it. And try not to break my strainer. I try to get as much out of there as I can. I see Brad saying, this one is probably simpler and cleaner than the simple and clean. Yeah. R.I.P. James Earl Jones. I did see, he died at the age of, was it? I heard somebody on the radio died at the age of 90 today. I don't remember if that was James Earl Jones or if that was 77. 2 people died recently. I don't remember which one it was. 93. Okay, that's the person I heard on the radio this morning. I was actually listening to the radio. Does anybody, serious question for the bar goers, who listens to the radio? I'm gonna put my hand down because I was listening to the radio purely by happenstance. I don't normally listen to the radio. However, you know, it goes as it do. So, by the way, this turmeric can be reused. It's not totally gone. I encourage you to find use for turmeric in your daily life. You can blend this up. You can make a powder out of it. If you dehydrate it, you can utilize this as a tea to get more of the energy out of it, or you can eat it. It's gin infused now. It is actually very tasty. Gin infused turmeric. Very bitter though. Got a very prominent bitterness to it. Kind of appreciable, in my opinion. Kind of appreciable. There we go. Don't need that strainer no more. Take your turmeric. Do not throw it away. You can still get a lot of mileage out of this. There we go. There we go. I'll put this over in my fruits basket to take care of later. If I can close the damn container, gee whiz. Upper Diamond saying, radio music is peak. I love the radio. That is an excellent point there. I remember listening to the radio a lot when I was working my second job. I was working at a place that's like an hour and a half away from Philadelphia, one way. So I had a very long commute. And I would listen to the radio there, and that kind of got me back into music. I had a very, very, very musical childhood. My father is a rock star, and there was a lot of music in my house growing up. My younger brother is, I would say, a famous contemporary musician now. I love that boy so. But I kind of fell out of music when I got into high school and a little bit of college. I fell back in love with it by listening to, it was the classic like 80s and 90s like rock and roll music on my way in and out of work. My tastes are like literally all over the place. I will listen to anything. A lot of it is video game music because, dare I say, I'm obsessed. I see Willpower saying, a radio listener. Annie also having the radio, only when the car immediately turns on. And then Brad saying that in the car, it auto started Pandora. That's interesting. Is Pandora considered the radio? Here's another question for the radio goers. Would you consider like iHeartRadio to be radio despite the fact that it's on the internet? Is it still radio? I'd say yes. I'd say yes. I like Spotify. Spotify radio mode is like, it's fine. That new AI DJ that they have on Spotify is just freaking weird. In any case, at the tail end, you will have a beautifully orange tinted Plymouth Gin. Your turmeric gin in this case. And with this turmeric gin, you can make a cocktail with it. A very fun one, actually. Before we get into this, we have a glass that we need to prepare first before we go forth and mix the drink and accidentally dilute things and whatnot. So, well, actually, we'll time this out a little bit better. The glass is chilling right now. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put all the ingredients into the stirring glass first. Then I'm gonna prepare the glass, and by the time that all the condensation comes off of it and the garnish has been prepared, then we'll stir and then put it over top with no ice. This gets served up, no ice. I see Gloria's saying, I missed the last part, last live. You went to Montreal? I did, yeah, I went to Montreal and then we had to drive all the way back because it was a bitch to get out of Canada. But we did it, we did it indeed. Let's grab ourselves a mixing glass and prepare our ingredients. We need our Turmeric-Infused Gin, which we already did. We just prepared that. We need this bottle of Galliano, which is the tallest freaking bottle ever. It actually doesn't fit inside of the bar. Like, there is one bottle, the Maraschino bottle just fits inside of the bar with an X. The Galliano bottle's got another, like, 1.5 inches on it. So I can't store this back here. That's very, very annoying. And then we're also gonna need a bottle of Suze. Suze is, around here somewhere, there you are. Suze is a Gentian liqueur. You can make substitutions if you want to. I'm not your dad. Do whatever you want to. So to make the 3 Wishes Keyblade, we're gonna add these 3 ingredients to the glass. Start off with 1.5 ounces of Turmeric-Infused Gin. Like I mentioned earlier, this one was rapidly infused. You literally just watched me make the turmeric gin. And I'm the asshole that's gonna make you watch the whole thing again and not tell you what the recipe is. So haha, watch my videos. Do it. Watch my videos right now. Or just rewind, I guess. 1.5 ounces of Turmeric-Infused Gin. This looks so beautiful, it's so yellow. I'm just kidding, by the way. By no means feel pressure to go back and watch things. This is an ephemeral show. It's beautiful that you guys are actually here watching it live. To make that turmeric-infused gin, take a ratio of 100 grams of turmeric, just lightly washed, you don't need to skin it, to 500 milliliters of some sort of gin. The original recipe prefers Plymouth Gin. Put that into an EC whipper, a whipped cream maker, and give it 2 nitrogen charges. And with that ratio, let infuse for 2.5 minutes before degassing rapidly, as quick as you can without completely getting things everywhere, and then letting that fizzle out until it stops bubbling. Then you can filter out, and you will have a beautiful, beautiful orange gin like this. Orange in color, not in flavor, you know? I see the discussion about radio continuing. Brad says, watch his videos later. Watch the live stuff live. The fact that you are here now is great, because by here being live, you can ask me questions, you can critique me in real live, you can heckle me. I'm not saying you should, but you can. So, a while back, like a long time ago, and I wouldn't necessarily recommend doing what I did because it's a waste of money, I went to bartending school for like a solid couple months. I never actually finished it. I never got the license, but the license wouldn't have done me good anyways. And they taught me how to pour from a Galliano bottle in the coolest way possible. So this is how to pour from a Galliano bottle in the coolest way possible. And I'm gonna try not to hurt myself. What you do is you swing it around your head, put it over your shoulder, and go to the 1 ounce side, because we need an ounce of this, and pour. Carefully, 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 carefully. Oh! And then you swing it back around, spill things on your bar. 1 ounce of Galliano. I tried my best. Flare tending is not necessarily my top skill. We're working on it, though. Back from being busy. Well, how was busy? We're talking about busy Massachusetts, right? Like the town? Massachusetts, if you have a busy, you're welcome. If you don't have a Massachusetts, Massachusetts, can you please direct me to the nearest busy so this joke actually makes sense? Please. Stand-up comedy and bartending is difficult. Also, my stand-up career is probably dead. Anyways, after you've added your turmeric-infused gin and your Galliano, we're gonna add just a half an ounce of a Gentian liqueur like Suze. By the way, I completely forgot that I have not been giving milliliter measurements. The quick and skinny of it is 1 ounce, 30 milliliters. Scale up and down from there. This one's a half an ounce, so it's gonna be 15 milliliters for our folks across the pond. Oh. Half an ounce of Suze. All of these ingredients are yellow. We like that. I see Annie saying, spill in the bar, no paying bar ferry taxes. Obligatory, please don't dox yourself. Naturally, naturally. But if you are from busy Massachusetts, actually, still don't do that. It's a very good idea not to. It's a very, almost like a downright wonderful idea. So I'll repeat just as before. The turmeric gin, this is the calculation. There was, I think, 40.3 grams of turmeric, and so we added about 200 milliliters of Plymouth Gin to that. This is kind of how it worked. This is a very dirty measuring majigger. I don't want to use that anymore. I'll wipe it off on my pants and move on. What we'll do now is prepare our glass in the background. This one requires a chilled glass, a chilled coupe glass. Out from over here. This is the glass that we're going to be using. What we're going to do is draw little embellishments on it, and then garnish it with some blue sugar. I've got some blue sugar, which you can make on your own if you have an oven or if you have a dehydrator. Take some rich simple syrup, 2-to-1 ratio, add a little bit of dye to it, or add your favorite ingredient that happens to have a color to it that you want to put into your sugar, and completely dehydrate the shit out of it. It will form crystals, and you can take those crystals and garnish it with it. So this is right now cooling down. All the cloudiness is coming out from it. I've got a little paintbrush, and I'm gonna do a very, very quick solution of little simple syrup, little syrupy water with some sugar in it. And I'm gonna kind of paint my embellishments on the glass, and I'm gonna hope that things actually stick around. So let me go grab some water and sugar. I have it in my little sugar basket over here. And a little glass. Grab one of these. I'll use a little paint palette. Put some water in there. A little bit of water. There we go. And actually, why use sugar when you have syrup already? That's using the cocktail brain. That's big brain energy. Big brain energy right there. Take some of your simple syrup, put it into some water, dilute it down a little bit, and then paint with it on your glass. You don't need too much of it. We really don't need that much of it. There we go. What's this chat saying? I see Annie saying, thank you for being responsible with your online privacy and safety. Yes. I see Gloria saying, if I tried to make this, I would have to buy all the alcohol at once because I don't have alcohol. I don't have alcohol cabinet. That would be a pretty hefty price. Let's see. The Plymouth Gin, I think, was around the maybe $30, $40 range. The turmeric was relatively cheap compared to the other alcoholic ingredients. The Suze, I feel like, wasn't more expensive than $35, perhaps. The Galliano I just bought, I think that was $30. I don't think those are very expensive liqueurs, but it'll run you $100. But then you have the bottles at your disposal to make as many of these cocktails as you want to without having to pay the regular taxes and whatnot that you would at bars, which charge you an arm and a leg for this kind of stuff. So let's draw some embellishments. I don't really know how I want to go about doing this, so I'm going to try to, like, let's see, the thing has, like, curves on it. The Three Wishes Keyblade has, like, curves, so I'm going to do, like, the little hooks. I'm gonna do little hooks. I'm not the best painter, by the way. We're gonna see what happens. I'm gonna do little U-shapes on my glass. Little U-shapes, and that thing is dripping towards the bottom. So I just did a thing, and now we're gonna see how that thing turns out. So let me grab a little plate if I can. I'll grab this guy instead, because apparently I don't have a plate available to me. I will take this off, and we're gonna sprinkle some blue sugar on this. And when I fail at that, I'm gonna do it again. And then I'm gonna do it again. And then I'm gonna do it again. All right, that didn't work. That didn't work. Okay, there we go. There's a little bit on there. Wow, that is not working. That's incredible. That is not working. Alrighty then. So I got one of them. Take a look at that. That's beautiful. I'm gonna do this manually. I'm just gonna put this on the glass. This is not the way that I would recommend doing it at your home bar. I would not recommend this. Don't do this. I need more sugar water. God, put sugar water on it. Put sugar water. Sugar water, sugar water, sugar water. Get on there. My goodness. There's a little bit. There we go. A little bit more. There we go. A little bit, but no, it fell off. Got a little bit more. A little bit more. Looking great. So did you ever get a new blender? No, I did not. I didn't budget for the new blender properly. Here, go on there, and then I'm gonna apply the water to this way, right? I'll paint it within, right? That's how we're gonna do it. That's how we're gonna do it. Is this how we're gonna do it? Put it all over the place, and then I'm just gonna, nope. Okay. There's a little bit of blue on there. By the time the photo shoot comes out, I swear I will figure this out. There we go. So now you have a very sticky glass, by the way. But don't tell anybody. That'll be our little secret. That'll be our little secret. I might as well put the rest of this stuff on here. There we go. Nope. It's beautiful! I give up with that. Anyways. I'm gonna put this away. And try not to think about it very much. There we go. Did you see the Lilo and Stitch live action teacher? I did! He jumped out of the screen! That was a fun one. I see Imichao saying, trying to make wacky cookie recipe, but it seems to not be going well. This is the weirdest cookie I've ever seen. Are you following this recipe, Imichao? Anyways. So we have our cocktail. Let's add some ice to it. Let's stir it up. And then we're going to pour it into the glass. Which has been chilled ahead of time. Isn't that exciting? I'm inclined to think it is. There we go. Add some hand-flavored ice over here. And keep with it. Give it a stir. Give it a stir. And talk to chat for a little bit. I see Brad saying early on the YouTube side, I end up trying drinks out and about so that I know what to stock my bar with. Also built mine up over years. I'll add a comment to that too. this bar here did not form in a day. I think I probably have at least 100 bottles back here, maybe even a little bit more too, and that's shared between the bar with an X back here, what I've got hidden near my feet because the bar with an X doesn't have a lot of space to it, and then the liquor cabinet, which has the rest of it. A lot of the bottles, especially the infusions from the Legend of Zelda series, are currently blocking my 3D printer. It's very difficult to do anything in that closet right now, but I've got a hobby that I really like, so I will sacrifice the space for it for the sake of my liquor cabinets. I will say, by the way, just to put a little, just to not leave that garnish thing to the wayside now, this method of creating sugar crystals was a bit of an experiment of mine. I took the rich simple syrup, I colored it, and I put it in the dehydrator, and it was dehydrating for, I think, 48 hours at 130 degrees Fahrenheit. What I found was inside of the sugar crystals, there were these little pockets of sugar that never got dehydrated because the sugar would crystallize around it. Next time when I make this, I'm going to spread it out a lot thinner on the sheet that goes into the dehydrator so that there is less chance of that puddling effect to happen. I did wind up putting this through a little mortar and pestle to crack it up a little bit, and every time I did so, it would rehydrate with the syrup that was trapped on the inside of the crystals. So it was a bit of a learning experience. And I pass this on to you because I want you to know exactly what mistakes I'm making and what the journey of trying to get to this point is so that we can all learn along the way. If I make a mistake on here, I'd love for y'all to call me out on it. If I make something, let's say something incorrectly, I'd love for you to correct me on it. Actually, the other day, somebody corrected me on how to say rooibos, like the tea. I think I was saying rooibos or something like that, but I was incorrect. And somebody in the comments section actually corrected me on that, and I greatly appreciate that. This is Cocktail Lessons with Correction. And if you don't give feedback on what you see here, how the heck are any of us going to improve? That's my philosophy on it, at least. So, now that we've got this, let's strain it out. Let's enjoy a drink, shall we? Bring the cocktail angle up a little bit. Take a look at these funny embellishments. It's kind of cute, don't you think? I think so. I think so. Let's pour it over top. This is 3 Wishes. 3 Wishes cocktail. Very, very good. And it does have those little, tiny little blue embellishments on the side. Honestly, it's almost like crystals inside of a cave, trying to grow off of whatever weird orange rock is behind it. Let's say it's like sandstone, because the sands of time, Arabian Nights, and like Arabian Days. I don't know the rest of the lyrics to that song, but it's exciting. So, this is the 3 Wishes Keyblade cocktail, inspired by Kingdom Hearts. It's got a beautiful yellow color to it, and it's got a little bit of blue on it. Maybe it'll grant my wishes. Genie, I wish for a tasty cocktail. So it shall be. This is great. This is lovely. I love the flavor in this. That's great. My hands are a little sticky because I've been touching the sides of the glass, which I've been throwing a bunch of syrup all over, so my apologies as I try to clean myself up around here. Upper Diamond saying, the computer was about to die, had to move elsewhere. That looks nice. Thank you so very much. I hope you found a nice, comfortable spot for your computer. Your personal comfort, I could care less about, but so long as your computer is comfortable. I'm just kidding. I hope you are very comfy right now. This is beautiful. So, obviously, right off the bat, it has got such a potent color to it. That's because of the turmeric on the inside. It also helps that the other 2 ingredients are also naturally yellow. On the nose, it's very light on flavor. It smells most prominently like the Galliano, which to me has a sort of almost spearmint gum type flavor to it. Going in for it though, this drink is kind of another chapter in at least my flavor journey of things that kind of taste like licorice, which includes absinthe, oitzo, fennel, licorice. Apparently, Galliano as well. When I picked up this bottle the other day, this is a very recent acquisition to the Bar with an X. My first in my first impressions of this was almost like it was a spearmint gum with a bit more sweetness to it, with a bit more licoriceiness to it. It's almost as if you took a little bit of spearmint gum and smashed it together with a little bit of licorice candy. Those flavors are prominent in the Three Wishes Keyblade cocktail. Combined, there's a little bit of bitterness coming up from the gentian notes of the Suze, but there's also this like almost leafy pine needle type flavor in the Turmeric-Infused Plymouth Gin. The more citrusy notes are kind of getting lost on me just because they're a little more subtle from the gin perspective, but overall, this is kind of like a piney, spearminty, licoricey gum almost. And it does leave a really, really nice air of that sort of mentholness on the back. When I was biting the turmeric earlier and tasting it, there was a sort of overwhelming air to it, almost like biting into ginger, but instead of it being on the spicier side, like ginger it's on the, it's on the note of being aromatic, but like in your mouth, while also being cooling at the same time. There's a lot of stuff going on there. But at its base, it's sweet, it's approachable, and it's kind of tasty. And the stem is very, very sticky, and I really don't want to keep on touching it. So I'm thinking I'm ready to move on, you know? I see Brad saying, I'm into the color, and the lyrics go, oh, I see what you're doing there. Arabian Nights, Arabian Days, feel the fizz of Coca-Cola. Arabian Nights, like Arabian Days, feel the fizz of Coca-Cola. That was quite the transition, right? Anyways, so to give a little bit of background of the Three Wishes cocktail, my original impression here was if you've got 3 wishes, you gotta have 3 ingredients. Ideally, this was gonna look more like a Negroni, or rather a white Negroni. This is a very simple cocktail. It's got 3 ingredients, and for the most part, it's in equal parts, at least according to the original Negroni spec. Negronis are equal parts Campari, gin, and sweet vermouth. Americanos are equal parts gin, Campari, sweet vermouth, and club soda. White Negronis, on the other hand, are not quite equal parts. Instead of your Campari, you have Suze or some other gentian liqueur. Instead of sweet vermouth, you have a white wine liqueur, such as Lillet Blanc, for example, and then you add your gin on top of that, and you've got something that's kind of equivalent. For my 3 wishes, I wanted 3 ingredients. So we went with something that was 3 ingredients. But I also was trying to think of things that were very indicative of the Arabian atmosphere of Agrabah and the surrounding desert lands. And I thought first I wanted something hot and arid. So I was like, maybe I want to use a ginger root in there. But along the same train of thought of using ginger root in the cocktail, which I thought was a little too aggressive for what I wanted to go for in terms of those other flavors and stuff, I thought about turmeric. And as I was flipping through Liquid Intelligence, I saw that Dave Arnold actually had a recipe for that rapid infused turmeric gin in a cocktail that he calls the Glow Sour because it looks like it's literally glowing. And I thought, if my turmeric gin, because at that point I hadn't made it yet, if this glows just like Dave Arnold's, then instead of it glowing like, let's say, I don't know, a lamp, for example, like an oil lamp, not a genie's lamp, maybe it's sparkled or glowed almost like a cave of wonders. Like the treasure trove that you find as, you know, if you're living in the land of Aladdin, and you do actually go to that in the game too. So essentially, the Keyblade was built out of that concept. 3 wishes, 3 ingredients, one of them being turmeric, and what other flavors combo go together. I found that when testing this, I knew I wanted to add some Suze in there for a bit of bitter sweetness, and I didn't have the Galliano yet. I got that bottle for a different cocktail, but I tried it along with these 2 other flavors, and I was blown away at how well the kind of spearminty flavors of Galliano paired with the turmeric leafy notes and pine notes, in addition to the sort of bitter notes that you get from the Suze. And I was like, oh yeah, this is exactly what I'm going for. The Keyblade itself has a bit of blue embellishment on it, so I did make some blue sugar to try to garnish around the rim. I need to do a little bit more prep work the next time I try to prepare a garnish like that. It didn't really work out this time, but by the time the photos come out and the blog comes out on the CameroxnWithAnX website /cocktails, where you can find literally everything I'm telling you now, but in written form, in case that's the way that you like to digest it, there'll be a prettier picture there, I assure you, and a little bit more in-depth about the workshopping process and how I came to do this. Every single cocktail, by the way, that you see in any of these video game showcases will have a blog entry up on the website that details how it came to be, some extra photos of it, and a bit more of the cocktail creation process around it, because that's the thing that I really love to write about. The blog is a little behind right now, but it has been catching up. So I think we're up to the Undertale cocktails. They're all up there now. I'm working on the Legend of Zelda ones, and the Kingdom Hearts ones will be coming real soon. So I'll leave you with that. Let's push this off to the side, shall we? I need a coaster. Let's use this one. Unity IPA. Throw that into the front. How's that looking over here? If we bring things back a little bit, let's take the rest of the, whoops, that was in my water. The rest of Simple and Clean, we'll put that over there. We'll go forth and push out the rest of that. Move things back a bit. And then I'll see what chat was up to. I was too into the cocktails, guys. Sorry. I got distracted. What are y'all up to? Put that in there. Throw that over here. And then we're good to go. I also want to clean off this mat. This mat is very, very dirty. I see Willpower saying, I'd rather be fizzed than hear the rest of the song. You'd rather be fizzed than hear? That's so mean of you. I don't take offense to it. It's fine. Heckle me all you want. I don't care. Even if it's a joke. Amy Chow says, more often than not, or hotter than hot in a lot of good ways. Ah, okay. So, let's see. The, Three Wishes cocktail. Like the Keyblade in Kingdom Hearts. More often than not, a lot sweeter than you'd think. And that's all right. That's all right. Anyways. I only vaguely know Coca-Cola from the shorts, to be honest. So Coca-Cola, I'll explain the reference there. In the meantime, while I'm doing a little cleanup over here, can I have a mod help us out and go into the next recipe? It's another Keyblade, and it's significantly different than this one. I promise you that. The Coca-Cola was a reference to, I think, one of the... I don't remember which episode it was, but one of the episodes in the Chip and Dale Rescue Ranger show. The Case of the Cola Cult is an episode that basically goes through this cult of this Coca-Cola, not Coca-Cola, Cuckoo-Cola, with 3 different flavors, orange, grape, and cherry, and kind of, there was a caper there where you kind of brainwash the people to feel a part of a community or whatever. It was an interesting episode. It was a very interesting episode. Coca-Cola was used as sort of a base for the Gadget Hack Wrench cocktail, which is a peanut orange highball cocktail. That's kind of a riff on the whiskey highball. I need another mat over here. I'll erase what's on my board over here, and then we'll be good to go for our third cocktail of the evening, Pumpkinhead, in reference to the Night Before Christmas world in Kingdom Hearts 1. This one was a fun one too. For my cocktail savants out there, for the people who love a really well thought out cocktail with depth and complexity, you're not gonna get it with this one. I'm gonna be very upfront with that. This is a lot less like that. I saw Upper Diamond saying, "Oh, I just remembered you multi-stream." Oh yeah, we're on all the platforms. I did try TikTok for a little bit, but TikTok's a bitch, and I'm proud to say that. Anyways, follow me on TikTok. Imicha says, "That's Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers. That's the one. That's the one." So. This next cocktail here is Pumpkinhead. It's the Pumpkinhead Keyblade. The Keyblade that our main character Sora obtains when he locks the keyhole in Halloween Town, the land of The Nightmare Before Christmas, the land of Tim Burton and Jack Skellington. The music there was so good. And the cocktail here was... It's a cocktail. I'm gonna make this cocktail for you, and I'm gonna give you all the inspiration of how this cocktail came to be. I'll throw out there that this is sweet like candy, just as Halloween is supposed to be. So you're welcome for giving me the warning in advance. To make this, we're gonna shake, and we're gonna double strain it because we are gonna serve it up without any ice into a martini glass. So in case you're following along at home, get it ready. And also, if you got those little bags of like pumpkin candy corn, you're gonna use some of that stuff too. They're difficult to skewer, so please do not hurt yourself. Or at least try not to. Let's grab ourselves a shaking tin. Can we do it cool? Can we do it cool? I did it cool, and I didn't hurt myself. It wasn't really that cool, though. Let's do something cooler. There we go. Grab ice. Grab ice, put it into the big side of your shaker. You could use a big ice cube here and 2 little cubes. As I remembered to do that, I forgot. So I've got 4 little cubes in there. This is how it is. Sometimes you forget in the rigmarole of things. We're gonna add a number of different ingredients to this, starting off with honey syrup. We're also gonna use Pinnacle whipped vodka, some vanilla vodka, and some pumpkin spice cream liqueur. Oh my god. Oh my god. This accursed bottle, oh my god. Bear with me here. Bear with me here. I promise you. I promise you. I don't know what I'm promising you. I'm honestly kind of scared to be making promises around here. Into a cocktail shaker, let's add the following ingredients. Grab ourselves a measure and majigger. We'll go with 2 ounces of honey syrup is what we're starting off with. There's a lot of honey syrup in here. A lot of honey syrup. Let's go with that. Let's see. We'll start with 2 ounces of honey syrup. This is a 1-to-1 ratio honey syrup that is equal parts honey in grams to water in milliliters. Over here. Good to go. There we go. By the way, y'all, are we getting any frame drops out there? Because I'm seeing a couple of things in my OBS saying that we may be having some connection issues. So feel free to let me know if things are looking a little bit weird out there. Try to mess around. Bonus points if you tell me what platform things look weird on. Anyways, next we're gonna add an ounce of Pinnacle whipped vodka. It tastes not like whipped cream. It really tastes like chemical vanilla. And sometimes that's a good thing. It's also kind of sweet, oddly enough. An ounce of Pinnacle whipped vodka. Next we're gonna add vanilla. The vanilla vodka. Which, oddly enough, you'd think is exactly the same as the Pinnacle whipped vodka, but it's not. See, this Disobedient Spirits brand vodka, which I'm not sponsored by or anything, but actually really appreciate, is a lot more forward on the vanilla. A lot less forward on everything else but the vanilla. Great. Upper Diamond says, feels like 12 to 24 FPS on Twitch, 8 to 12 on YouTube. Oh, are things kind of buffering that much? Wow. That's super interesting. Let me see if there's anything I can do in the background. I do have a couple things open. Let me see if I can finagle with that a little bit. Sometimes it's just luck of the draw, or it's a storage thing. Let me check and see if that's going on. Do a little debugging before I blame anything else. How are we doing? We got plenty of storage space. Plenty of storage space, and this looks okay for now. I bob my head back and forth and see. These are looking all right. I appreciate your feedback. Maybe it's just my Wi-Fi, but I don't know. It just looks solid. I'll take it. I blame being on the patio, says Brad, so it might just be another thing. I just see some things going on weirdly in the world of things and whatnot. So I appreciate all y'all's feedback on that. Thank you. It's just Chris. I greatly appreciate you popping in with that. There we go. An ounce of just vanilla vodka. And then, oh god. Oh my goodness. Here comes the fun one. This is the fun one. There we go. Next, I have this bottle of pumpkin spice cream liqueur. This was on sale at the liquor store, and they were selling it for $5. They were really trying to get rid of this bottle. Usually it goes for about $14. We're not using too much of this. We need a half an ounce. There we go. A half an ounce of... I forgot what it was. Oh my god. That's what it is. A half an ounce of pumpkin spice cream liqueur? Yeah, it exists. And it's made by the Pennsylvania Dutch. And I don't know whether that's a good thing or a bad thing. But it's here. And we love it. Sorta, kinda. Sorta, kinda, sorta, kinda. And then finally, we're gonna add enough food dye to this to turn it black. Because that's the theme of Halloween Town. I like using blue, a bit of green, and a bit of red. You don't need too much. If you're using these tiny little droppers, I'd say like 2 drops each. It should turn this a very fun black color. Now, I'll offer here that usually I stray away from using liqueurs of specific colors to theme cocktails, or even to use food dyes in order to get cocktails to be the color that I want them to be. This one felt like a bit of an exception though. It's candy. It's Halloween Town. I felt like when candy happens, there's bound to be some artificial stuff here or there, or whatever you've got available to you. So that's everything in our cocktail tin. Let's combine our liquids into solids, and then give this a shake. That was probably the most comfortable shake I've had in a while. I've been kind of out of whack for a little bit. Let's grab a chilled glass from our freezer as well as a little garnish. If you want to follow along with the show, if you have those... Oh, no. Oh, what a disaster. Oh, that stinks. I was going to say, if you have those little candy corn pumpkins, garnish it with this. It fell apart. I'm gonna just have to stab another one then. Man, that stinks. That was a bitch to get on, too. It's okay. We'll do it live. We'll do it live. Just need to make sure we get in here. This is very difficult to do, but... Because these things are really hard, and this is a plastic skewer. Do I have any metal skewers? I really wish I did. I do not have any metal skewers. That is really unfortunate. I really wish I had some of those on standby right now. Anyways, fortunately, we have an entire bag of candy. Yeah, and we have... How many hours left of this do we have? I don't know. I don't know. Anyways. Don't stab yourself in the process. There we go. I put it on backwards, but just bear with me here. That's your little garnish. We prepared that ahead of time. Grab yourself a chilled glass. Pour it in. Where's that cocktail angle? Give me that cocktail angle. Hello there. I see Upper Diamond saying, I gotta go. Thanks for the background noise. You're so welcome. I'll be your background noise any day. Thank you for popping in. I'd say the bar with an X is always open for you coming back, but we're not actually open all that often, to be perfectly honest. In the grand scheme of things, we really gotta work on our hours. So take a little candy cane pumpkin and pop it in there as a garnish, and then crack the seal, separate, then we're gonna give that a pour. Give that a pour. Ooh, that needs more dye in it. There we go. That is our cocktail. Could probably be a bit more heavy on the artificial dyes, but this is what we have here. This is our... This is Halloween! This is Halloween. Everybody scream or something. Screaming is a really good thing to do at this point. I love it. Upper says, you too. I choose not to be called Upper, but that's okay. Oh, that's okay. Would you like me called Diamond instead? I can also call you The. It's whatever you want. It's whatever you want to. Anyways, this is our... This is the... Oh, it fell! Oh my god. The pumpkin's going all over the place. Look at that. This is the Pumpkinhead cocktail. It's from Kingdom Hearts, basically. Let's try to make sure that garnish doesn't fall off again. Oddly enough, there is something about that kind of tastes like candy corn. Like, a little bit. There's also like this gnawing of something that kind of tastes like a pumpkin spice latte, but if you did it completely wrong, it's not that good. It's not that good, but it's sweet, and it kind of tastes like candy corn? And I think that's kind of what we're going for here. To break that down a little bit further, there is a very prominent note of honey as soon as it begins. And then it goes into something a little more... Like, I want to call it just spices because it's pumpkin spice cream liqueur. What those spices are, I don't know. But it doesn't seem like a spice in a culinary sense. It's like a spice... Like you would describe chemical burns as hot. You could describe chemical burns as spicy too. It's a chemical burn kind of spicy. But it's sweet and it's candy corn-like, so I'm relatively certain that's completely on the mark. It's very much on the mark for what it's intending to be. That's the Pumpkinhead cocktail. So, to get into a little bit of how this thing came to be, I remember reading something somewhere that says if you combine Galliano liqueur and orange liqueur together, it will taste like candy corn. And let me tell you, folks, it does not taste like candy corn. Like you need to add a little bit of cream on top of that. Or it's cream, Galliano liqueur, and orange liqueur. And they say it tastes like candy corn. It does not taste like candy corn. And before you ask me to make it for you, I actually don't have any cream left, so I can't test it now. But if you remind me when the spooky season comes along, I will do that for you. But so when I had this idea, when I heard about this, I was like, all right, cool. Well, I'll go to the store and I'll buy some Galliano. I'll mix it with some orange liqueur and some cream and see where I get with that. And it was completely off the mark. So I was like, well, great. Now I have to completely redo the concept of this cocktail because I have absolutely no reference for going for. But lo and behold, the internet at large says that the primary flavors of candy corn are honey, marshmallow, and vanilla. And I was like, okay, I've got honey. I've got things that taste like marshmallow. I got things that taste like vanilla. So honestly, I just put it all together. I combined some honey syrup with some vanilla vodka, with some marshmallow liqueur. Not really marshmallow liqueur, it's the Pinnacle whipped in this case, significantly less gelatin. And I tried that together and I was like, well, you know what? That's pretty good. Close enough to candy corn. Really, really sweet. Not something that I would be sipping unless it were like a Halloween party and I just wanted to fit in with the crowd and stuff and didn't want to insult the bartender. So I went with it. But then I thought, wait. It's Pumpkinhead. We need some pumpkin with that. So I went with the only thing that I could think of in my collection that would be appropriate in this case. The pumpkin spice cream. Very sweet, very decadent, very rich liqueur. And when you combine everything together, it's weird. It's really, really weird. I think you could probably make a better pumpkin spice cream liqueur in place of this. I don't have a recipe for that, but I feel like I might try to develop one for it because I think we can do better in terms of that. I'm trying not to throw as much shade out there as possible for the Pennsylvania Dutch like place that makes spirits, but the pumpkin cream liqueur, when mixed with stuff on its own, maybe in this particular combination, let me not insult the bottle itself. In this combination, it almost kind of tastes puke-like. And I mean to say this up front because I want to make sure that you know what you're getting yourself into. But if you kind of hold your breath a little bit, it's sickeningly sweet, and it does have notes of that kind of marshmallowy candy corn taste. But if you look any farther into that, you might be a little disappointed. In any case, that's our Pumpkinhead cocktail. That's what we got. For Mr. Jack Skellington. Mr. Jack Skellington, this is the guy we got. So we are on about halfway through the stream so far of the Kingdom Hearts Keyblade Cocktail Showcase. So far, I've shown for y'all how to make the Kingdom Key, aka Simple and Clean, the Three Wishes Keyblade, as well as the Pumpkinhead Keyblade. I've got 2 more recipes for you as we proceed through this stream. And then we're gonna call it quits. We're gonna go to bed for the night. We're gonna get some nice rest. At least I hope y'all get to do that because I've got work to do after the fact. Let me grab a coaster for this guy. I want something spooky. Do I have anything with a pumpkin on it? No, but I do have this like Mickey Mouse coaster that we got on our honeymoon. And these are all technically Disney cocktails in a way. But this one gets it. This one gets the one. Oh, you're blocking the other dudes. Don't do that. Don't do that. Let's put it back here a little bit. Let's bring you back here because you're tall and you're blocking things. Simple and Clean is kind of, there we go, kind of hanging back there. There we go. We arrange things in such a way so that every cocktail gets its day. There we go. We got 3 of them on the side. We'll continue on with our next recipe of the evening, which is going to be the Crabclaw Keyblade. This one is the cocktail that you get after sealing the keyhole in Atlantica, the land of the Little Mermaid in Kingdom Hearts 1. I think as I was doing a little bit more research on the other Keyblades and stuff, without trying to go too spoiler on it, there are a bunch of different iterations of Keyblades, and sometimes between games, the Keyblade does not remain the same. Like, I was thinking to myself, By the way, there are more cocktails that get developed for these showcases than actually wind up making it to the forefront. Sometimes they just don't come to a point where I really fit the theme. I want to try to rework them, but just didn't really have enough time for them. And there were a couple of Keyblades where I was thinking, which ones can I just do again or do better by the time we get to like Chain of Memories or Kingdom Hearts 2 if we wind up doing more Keyblades? And I thought that Pumpkinhead existed throughout the games. I thought Crabclaw existed throughout the games, but I don't think they do. I think they're only in Kingdom Hearts 1. Or Kingdom Hearts Chain of Memories, I think. I don't really know how the mechanics in that game work. I haven't actually played it yet. So the Crabclaw cocktail involves another special infusion. One that I'm going to walk you through right here. It's not going to take super duper long, and it is profound how this very, very simple infusion can completely change the direction that a drink is going. So let's get right into this. This one is going to use Nori-Infused Amontillado Sherry. I've got a bottle of Amontillado Sherry. I've got some like little pieces of nori over here. We're also going to need some dry curacao and elderflower liqueur for this particular cocktail. So the first thing that we'll need to do is make some Nori-Infused Amontillado Sherry. And honestly, it really couldn't be simpler in terms of infusions. Step 1, take some nori. You don't need to put the whole damn thing in there. Actually, I wouldn't encourage you to put the whole darn thing in there. Split into like some pieces of... You can split it in half. Or even split it into quarters if you want. And if you want to know what to do with the nori, make some sushi out of it. You can also eat it too. I like the taste of nori, so I might actually just roll that up and put that in my mouth. Maybe. I love it when the bartender gets a snack. It takes a little bit, but you can eat it as a snack. With about 2 squares of nori of, what size are these things? This is about 4 by 3.5, we'll call them. Take 2 4 by 3.5 inch pieces of nori, and we're gonna add them to some Amontillado Sherry. How much Amontillado Sherry? I don't really have a particular amount here, but let's do a base of about 4 ounces. I'm just gonna put that in a spare glass. So I got a glass. Let's take our Amontillado Sherry, and we'll infuse some of it. Add like enough to get things all nice and together. There we go. Take one of them. Take about 4 ounces of that. And then pop your nori inside. As it hydrates, it will kind of get a little bit more easier to work with. I'll say here that I'm gonna put some wine preserver inside of my Amontillado Sherry bottle just to keep this thing fresh for longer. This bottle I've actually had since when we did the charity stream, and it tastes very, very similar to when I still got it. It's gotten a little bit more sour and a little bit more, I'll say sour. Sour is a good way to describe it over time, but it's still got all those qualities of it that I really appreciated in the beginning. Dare I say, like, it almost tastes to me a little bit better after a while. Some things age better with time, some things not. It really depends on what your preferences are. But generally speaking, for anything wine-based, you put a little preserver on top of it, keep it refrigerated. Tends to keep it for a little bit longer. So, let me grab a stirring rod, and I'll mix things together, just making sure that this nori gets into contact with the Amontillado Sherry that lays beneath it. This is a very quick infusion. We're only gonna let it sit for a little bit longer, let's say about a minute longer. Alexa, set a timer for a minute. Yeah. It's a very, very good infusion. And actually, before I move on from that, I'll grab a little cordial glass. I'll pour a little bit of unmodified Amontillado Sherry in one side. We'll do a taste comparison to see what the two taste like side by side. As the timer's going off, I'll just do the one of this. Honestly, there are not a lot of spirits that I just sip neatly and really, really enjoy it. And although this is technically not a spirit, it's wine. Although I guess you could consider it a spirit. I don't know if fortified wines are considered spirits in the way that like things that are distilled are spirits. I'm gonna have to Google it on that one. But I like unironically enjoy this Amontillado Sherry on its own. It is wonderful. So at its base, this one tastes like it's dry. Oh man, it's dry. It's almost meaty. It's got a flavor that really reminds me of toasted nuts. Alexa, stop. Thank you so much. Now that that's over with, let's take our Nori, take it out of our Amontillado Sherry, kind of give it a squeeze a little bit if you can. We want to try to get all that out of there. If you had like, you know, something else to squeeze it with, not your fingers. If you worked in a bar, please feel free to use a bag. I'm at my home bar, so I'm using my fingies. Use my fingies. This is still edible, so I'm putting this in a little container over here so I can taste, so I can have it after I taste the comparison over here. So compared to the regular Amontillado Sherry, which to me has notes of roasted nuts to it, it's a deep flavor that is just, it's like potently like savory and kind of salty. It is noticeably briny. Become important later on. This smells like nori, seaweed-like. It has a flavor in terms of the smell that's kind of like, it's kind of lost a lot of those qualities of the sherry notes that have like that roasted quality to it, but when you taste it, oh man, on the end, those roasted nut flavors are still there. However, things have almost been diluted a little bit. As soon as it touches your tongue, you get that flavor of nori like so prominently. It's even more briny than it was previously. It's almost a little more tangy now. It's got a flavor to it that's, I don't really know how else to describe it other than instead of it being more on the salty briny side like the Amontillado Sherry was on its own, this is a little more umami. It's savory, but it's savory in like a different dimension. I'll admit, my palate is still learning to distinguish between savory salty and umami savory. And I am getting better at trying to articulate on that, or at least detect differences when I find it. This has definitely gotten more umami. Things that are savory in a way that is more akin to mushrooms or seaweed, as opposed to salty like it would be on like cured meats and whatnot. That's the way that I like to compare it, at least. So, this is the rest of that Amontillado Sherry. Take that as the bartender tax. Put it down here. And what we'll do is we'll take this Nori-Infused Amontillado Sherry, and we're going to use this as a part of the cocktail that we're building. So let's get right into it. Let's make a Crabclaw. We're gonna need a stirring glass for this one, so I need to clean out one of the glasses that I have used already. So if you'll give me the moment to go back into this one and take some of that Amontillado infused nori, and we'll like kind of do a little cleanup over here. I need more stirring glasses. I'm aware of that, but I needed 3 for this one, so your patience is appreciated. That, shall we? Maybe one day we'll have a brick and mortar location with all the resources we could possibly need. Or at the very least, a corporate budget so we can spend money when we want to. Oddly enough, we won a cocktail competition for one of the cocktails that we made here at the Bar with an X. And we actually got some cash winnings from that. It was really cool. We got $1,000, which was great. So now, we've had that used. We've been able to use that for the spirits and whatnot. Which, by the way, anything that anybody donating to the stream, any bits that you send out, any subs that you do, wind up going back into the stream either, whether that's on new equipment, new spirits, or new experiences, so that we can bring all that to the live stream. So, that's just my way of reiterating it. That's not me telling you to donate anything. Please don't feel like you have to. But we appreciate it. So, tasty nori. First, to create your Crabclaw, we're gonna add 2 ounces of our Nori-Infused Amontillado Sherry. It's so weird. It's such a cool combo. It's roasted, it's nutty, it's savory. Oh, it's great. What is it, Annie? I feel obligated to cheer now. Don't say that I made you. I didn't do it. I didn't do it. I see Dr. Taco MD popping in saying, did you say you were in Indianapolis recently? I was! We were there for Gen Con, the big board game convention that's out there. We're out there every single year. We love our Gen Con folks. We love our Gen Con folks. 2 ounces of Nori-Infused Amontillado Sherry. That's about 59 milliliters, by the way, for our folks across the pond. I've got some more of this Nori-Infused Sherry. I'm gonna save it. By the way, I'll throw out there, we do some interesting infusions on this show. If you have ideas on what else to use this infusion for, by all means, please let me know. I would love to give things a try. That'd be great. Did you spot by the Inferno Room? I'm an idiot. No, I haven't. Oh, wait, is that where the Inferno Room was? In Indianapolis? Did I miss that? I'm gonna correct that right now. I keep like a list of places that I want to go. You're gonna yell at me for this, Dr. Taco. Instead of going out to, let's say a bar, for example, in Indianapolis, you know where I went? I went to Buffalo Wild Wings. That's where I went to. And I think it was a long day after Gen Con, and 2 of our friends were out at a concert, and so we were like, where the heck do we go? We just want to get a bite to eat, so we went to Buffalo Wild Wings because it was close by. We were so tired from that. Oh my gosh, that's great. They're on there. I'm an idiot, that's the one. And I did shots there. I did shots at the Buffalo Wild Wings. I did shots of mezcal because I wanted to see. Oh no, it wasn't mezcal. They were out of mezcal, which was really annoying. I think I did shots of Casamigos because I wanted to see if it was really that bad. It's fine. It's fine, I guess. Dr. Taco MD recommends. I'm gonna go there. Now it's marked. It is now marked on my phone. I will not forget about it. That looks really cool. That's really close. You said it's 5 minutes away from the convention center. That's awesome. It's also near, do I remember any of the places in that location? Yeah, there we go. I see Lucas Oil. Oh yeah. Oh, that's close enough. We'll have to stop by and visit when we're over there the next time. That's really good. I appreciate you reminding me on that too, because I definitely would have forgotten about it. I didn't have it marked either, so I wonder if I forgot to write it down, or I just didn't. It was great. Annie asks, was the Casamigos shot worth it? Listen, I don't want to pay 20 bucks just to discover something I already knew. So was it worth it? No, not really. Not really. Anyways, let's move on. We need to add a ½ ounce each of elderflower liqueur, as well as some dry curacao. So let's go for that. We'll do a ½ ounce of dry curacao. Excuse me. Excuse me again. Put that away. And then we go for the elderflower liqueur. As some would call it, bartender's ketchup. Why they call it that? Well, it's kind of like ketchup on things. When you put ketchup on things, things tend to taste a little bit better. When you take elderflower liqueur and you put it in things, things tend to taste, according to some, a little bit better. So take that bartender's ketchup, elderflower liqueur, and add ½ ounce. I'm gonna be honest, I don't play around with the elderflower liqueur very much, and I want to say that, at least according to the Death & Co. books, the bartender's ketchup is not necessarily the elderflower liqueur, it's specifically Saint-Germain, or Saint-Germain. I have no idea how you pronounce that. If there are some other folks out there who love to correct me, because I know you're out there, is it Saint-Germain or Saint-Germain? And whatever you tell me is correct, I'm gonna start saying it the opposite way, because... Dab, I don't know. Anyway, get some ice, put it in your container. Get some ice, put it in your glass, put some ice and you put it in your glass. Those of you watching at home might be like, that's weird. Why is this cocktail, why is it brown? Isn't it supposed to be blue? I got you. I got you. I got you. And Amy Chow says, update. I ate some of the leftover dough and it tastes like marshmallows. Excellent! That was on that cookie that you were making, right? Some interesting cookie combo that we don't, I don't remember what the recipe was for it if you shared it. I can't remember. Brad says, I say the first one, but I'm real Southern. I don't pronounce the ah in Tuesday. Tuesday. That's okay. I don't pronounce the Ness in Wednesday. Actually, I don't pronounce the D I don't pronounce the D or the second E in Wednesday, but I don't think anybody does. Interesting. Amy Chester said that I always pronounce Saint Germain. Saint Germain. What's wrong with you, Germain? I don't know. Anyways, let's give the thing a stir, shall we? Let's give this a stir. Gives us a stir, shall we? Yes, we shall. Yes, we shall. Wednesday. Is that how you pronounce things? That's beautiful. I mean, you're kind of using the Y as the Y was intended. E. Like crust E. Slap E. Non-denominationally. Volcanically. Yee. That's 5, by the way. Wednesday, says Michelle. What's the weirdest way somebody has pronounced the day of the week? I'll do it for you right now. Cindy. Sunday is just Cindy. That's all I got. I do pronounce the first R in February, as opposed to February. Yeah, I don't pronounce that either. I don't pronounce the X in my name either. CameroxnWithAnX. Out of here. No, it's silent. Just like my mother named me. Without the X being pronounced. That's how she named me. How we doing? This is great! It looks good. Alrighty then. Let's pour this into a glass, and then I'm gonna show you how to garnish it. You might be wondering what the heck an orange crab is. I'm gonna learn you today. Let's grab ourselves an ice ball of ice. Pop that inside our glass, and then give that a strain. And then I'll grab this other thing too. There we go. Pour this over your ice. And then garnish with an orange crab. Look at this crab. This is a crab. This is supposed to be a crab. This is supposed to be a crab. Look at this crab from this angle. Crab. It's a crab. This crab. It's got a little. Oh, it's backwards. Hold up. There we go. Take a look at my crab. It is made of oranges. Not much of a crab now. Now, wouldn't you like to know how to make this? Because don't worry. I pre-prepared this garnish, but I'm gonna show you exactly how to make this. So, this is our Crabclaw cocktail. And let's give a little tasting notes on it, and then I'll show you how to make the orange crab as well. But first, let's go for it. I kind of like, so this is in a blue glass, right? And it's got a really cool gradient that's formed because of it. Oh, man. Oh, I like it. I like it too much. Oh, I like it too much. Oh, you can taste everything going on in there. Oh, this is so cool. The Crabclaw cocktail is a balance of sweet orange and like toasty, savory other fruits. And a little bit of bread. I'll give it that much. That right off the bat, like it hits your tongue with like sweet orange. It's sweet orange, but then it almost immediately transforms into that umami savory note that comes in from the nori, oddly enough, and then swifts away to a residual air of orange oil and toastedness, like toasted nuts. Like, oh, the evolution is wild on that. And it's so good. And it's real fun. I'm gonna go in and do it again. I'm gonna be a little more intentional with it this time. I feel like there is a Yankee Candle out there somewhere labeled Orange Spice. Orange Spice Vanilla even. And aside from the last part of this drink, the last end palate, aside from that, which is more toasted nuts, the beginning of the experience and the mid part is like that candle, or body odor, or face mask, or whatever soaps that you use, or the soaps that you find inside of the canisters at fine hotels that you gotta wonder to yourself, how much do they pay for this particular scent and can I buy it in a bottle? And the answer is, kinda. It's really tasty. There's quite a bit going on there. I was really surprised to find that when mixing things together, first of all, that the Nori infusion in the Amontillado Sherry was, even for such a small amount of time, changed the drink that much. But then to find that it went surprisingly well with orange curacao, dry curacao in this case. And that elderflower liqueur just right on top. Just a little kiss. It's just a little kiss. And look at that crab! The crab is also great too. That's why they call this the Crabclaw, right? So it's the... Let me show you how to make the crab first. And then as I'm telling you how to make the crab, I'll give you a little background of how this drink actually came to be. So, let's go for this. Let's grab the cocktail angle, bring it over here, and I'll show y'all how to make a little crab. Little crab. There we go. Get you down here. And I'll show you how to make a little crab. Little crab. What you'll need for this one, oh my goodness, if you don't drop it first, is an orange. You're gonna need an orange for this one. Excuse me a second. Excuse me a second. Gotta take care of business. Get them out of here. There we go. Okay, take an orange. This is your orange, right? This is your orange. I got you, Brad. I got you. Just weren't quick enough on that one. Let me bring this up a little bit further so you get a better view of what's going on here. This is actually not too difficult to do. This is a very, very quick, not quick necessarily, but this is a very easy garnish that you can make. Let's grab a paring knife and whatever this knife is called. We're gonna take our orange, and we're gonna slice it right down the middle first. Then we're gonna cut off some wedges to the side. For one of those wedges, we are going to cut inward, trying to detach the sides of that peel from the inner part of the orange. So it's kind of got a little thing going on there. Almost looks like the orange is kind of wearing a hat for a little bit of time. We're gonna take the other orange, right? And you don't really need the flesh inside. If you're at a bar, please don't put your mouth on it. If you're at your home bar, please put your mouth on it. All you want is the peel. All you want is that peel. Take this off to the side. Take your peel. We're gonna cut it down. We're gonna cut the bits off the side. Then we're gonna cut it down the middle. And then, using your best artistic skills, you're gonna make a claw out of both sides. So for me, that means kind of routing out the corners a little bit on both of these. Kind of make them look like it's a little mantis shrimp energy with the fist, right? How's that looking, by the way? Can y'all see that? Excellent, excellent, excellent. Get the little fisticuffs. Align this out correctly, right? You want these claws to be anti-symmetric to each other. So I'm gonna do one little divot this way, and then correspondingly do the same thing in the other direction using my non-dominant hand. Can you believe it? My goodness, he's so talented. Where does he get it? He doesn't. He's not talented at all. And then get some triangles in there. You're gonna wanna put a little divot there, and maybe there, and then maybe there, and then there, and then cut off the side over there. Kind of get those pieces out. Depending on how wide you want your little pincers to be. This, for example, this is a very thin pincer. but it still moves kind of well. You can make this larger if you want to. You can give them a little more pincies if you want. Pincies? Is that a word? That's the wrong side of the knife, Cameron. Nice job, Cameron. Very good job, Cameron. Thank you so much. Cutting backwards is kind of difficult. Don't cut towards yourself. Don't do it. Don't do it. Do not cut towards yourself. We'll do it this way instead. There we go. And then cut the other direction. There we go. Put it off to the side. Get the little scraps out of there. Come on. There we go. Well, the best we can do it, right? So now we got 2 little crab claws, and that will go onto our crab inside those little slits that we made earlier. Right? These ones aren't sticking as well as the ones that I made the other day. So try to be intentional about your cuts. There's a little, oh my goodness. That one's not sticking very well. Look at that. Well, that's okay. Point still comes across. Look at that. Aphris! Hello, everybody! We got a little crab, indeed. Let's just say, for all intents and purposes, I made this crab for y'all. So we got little pincers here, right? Final part. We're going to put 2 little, 1 divot here, 1 divot here. Trust the process. Trust the process. And grab 2 little cloves. 2 little cloves. And stick them inside. Crab's got a C, don't it? Crab's got a C. They're gonna get in there. There we go. And now we have, excuse me, a little crab garnish to go with our Crabclaw cocktail, which is served in this container. That's how you make the little garnish on top. There we go. That's what we got. Very cute. Thank you so much to everybody popping in. Adaska, welcome. Aphris, welcome as usual. Well, welcome to the bar with an X, everybody. Creating cocktails inspired by some of your favorite video games. We're kind of starting with some of my favorite video games. I like Kingdom Hearts. Kingdom Hearts is fun. That's what we've been playing around here recently. We're moving on to Chain of Memories next, and right now we're covering our 5 cocktails inspired by Keyblades from the first Kingdom Hearts game. And you came in at just the right time, because we just finished with this one. We showed you how to make a little garnish, and we're going to move on to the final cocktail of the evening, the final one. By the way, don't throw out any of your scraps and whatnot. Use this as a snack for later. It's very nutritious, and honestly, I think we could all use a little more vitamin C in our diets. And just in case if you have enough orange peels, if you have peels of the orange that you want to conserve, you can make things like an oleosaccharin out of them, you can make teas out of them, you can dehydrate them and make powders out of them. There's a bunch of different ways that you can use all the different food waste that you may create inside, during these mixological processes and whatnot. If you ever have questions on those, by the way, I am looking for more ways of getting the most, let's say, bang for my buck out of the fruits and all the different ingredients that we use here at the bar with an X. So if you've got ideas, or even the thought of, hey, I've got like spare artichokes and I don't really know what to do with them, make stuffed artichoke out of them. I've never made stuffed artichoke, but I've had it, and it tastes really, really good in my opinion. So, without further ado, I'll give a little bit of background of how the Crabclaw cocktail came to be, and then we'll move on to the final cocktail of the evening, which will be yet another Keyblade, the ultimate Keyblade, and dare I say, the more fun one. It's more active. Things have been a little slow this stream, especially with the way that we started out, but this last one, it's going high speed, turbo mode. I promise you that. This is great. I see Adaska saying an orange sounds yummy AF right now, dude, and this is one of those sweeter navel oranges, so that orange slice was super duper duper good. I would highly recommend it. I'd also recommend acid adjusting orange juice to get it to the acidity levels of a lemon. And if you don't know how to do that, I'm about to show you. Anyways, so the Crabclaw cocktail for the Crabclaw Keyblade from Kingdom Hearts was built with the inspiration of Atlantica, the world of the Little Mermaid. Whenever I think of the water, I think of a couple different things that always seem to pop in at the same time. I either think of the beach, in which case my mind kind of goes in the direction of a more tropical output, like pineapples, coconuts, and limes and whatnot. But other times it comes to just the solidity of the water. There are some drinks out there that have a certain briny saltiness to them. But the other thing in the water is seaweed. And I saw very recently in my Instagram feed by an account that goes by Mixography, a very, very quick infusion technique for using seaweed, nori, the thing that goes around your sushi and whatnot, and infuse it into spirits to modify the flavor of it to be obviously a little more seaweed-like, but to accent those savory umami notes that are sometimes present in a lot of drinks that are already out there. I want to say that mixography, and I cannot remember the gentleman's name. I'll try to give credit where credit is due for all the different techniques and stuff, because I didn't make up these things. I sourced for them from at least 3 or 4 or sometimes 5 different locations of the different things that come here. They don't all come from my mind. I'm exploring just like the rest of us. But the technique involves taking just a couple squares of that seaweed, putting it in the spirit. They used brandy, I believe. I used Amontillado Sherry. Amontillado Sherry, in my experience, has been kind of new to me. These flavors are like salty roasted nuts in some cases, and when I was tasting this for the purpose of making a drink out of it, I was actually getting flashbacks to some of the like the beach adventures that I've had throughout my life. And I thought, well, if this is already kind of savory in one way, what if we added the nori to it to make it savory in yet another way? And it totally worked. Then I was thinking, we got to add a garnish to this, right? And I saw on the Keyblade photo, if you're only viewing either on the YouTube side or other the fact, there's a little crab that's on it. And I was like, I need to put a crab on this. So I got an orange. I thought, the crab is orange, I'm gonna get an orange for that. And lo and behold, the flavor of orange and the Nori-Infused Amontillado Sherry just sparkled. I loved the way that tasted, but it wasn't quite complete. There was something else in there that just felt like it was kind of missing. And that's where the Elderflower Liqueur came in, kind of did that cocktail ketchup kind of style to it, and adding that to it just brought everything together. This is one of those drinks that I'll mention, the drink itself does not match the color of the Keyblade. Instead, you could say I cheated a little bit by using a blue glass to make the drink appear blue under the right lighting. I wouldn't say it's cheating. I would just say that a part of the mixology process of choosing your ingredients, your garnishes, and otherwise, that you can be particular about what glassware that you use too to kind of portray what you were trying to do. That's how the Crabclaw cocktail came to be. Ultimately, very tasty. It's quite an evolution of flavors and stuff. And with that, I'll put these two little crabs together so they can all kind of a little crab rave going on in this glass over here. Anyway, that's great. This is gonna go on a crab coaster because I have one of those. Go over here, you beautiful, beautiful crustacean, you. This is great. I see Afra saying, heck yeah, umami milkies. Oh, absolutely. And Adaska saying, it's cool though. Thank you, thank you. The garnish, actually, I won't take credit for the orange crab either. I actually found that on a YouTube video with a very, I feel like the YouTube video does not get enough credit to it. There will be a reference to anything that I use to source the ideas for these cocktails. There will be sourced in definitely the blog, which will come out after the fact, and I'll try to put a couple of things in the VOD of the YouTube description after it. If I forget to do it, be vocal about it. I'd love to hear your thoughts on it anyway, and I must be held accountable. So let's move on to the last cocktail of the evening, which is one inspired by yet another Keyblade. I'm gonna grab ingredients, but I'm also gonna grab a tool first, because I'm gonna tease you with it. This one's gonna involve this thing. And it's also going to involve the other fruit that has been sitting on this screen the entire time that I bet you didn't even notice. You might wonder, why the heck is it near the fruits basket? It's not a fruit. We're gonna use this one. This one uses rose. This final cocktail of the evening is the Divine Rose Keyblade. This one, oh, this one's fun. I've been rereading a book called Liquid Intelligence, where Dave Arnold so methodically and so intricately explains a bunch of different cocktail techniques, and I was reminded that you can put things in a blender and combine them together. And lo and behold, there was a single picture in that book of a rose cocktail. I had to give it a try. I totally had to give it a try. Fruits basket, I'm a weeb. You're damn right I'm a weeb, Annie. Loud and proud. So for this one, we're gonna combine rose blended Blanco tequila with some acid adjusted orange juice, and we're gonna top the whole thing off of a champagne for a little spritz inspired by Kingdom Hearts. let's go for it. Step one is you're gonna need some rose-infused, rose-blended Blanco tequila. I've got my rose. I've also got some Blanco tequila. If you put 2 and 2 together already, you know exactly what's happening here. So when it comes to blending techniques like this, you just want to make sure that whatever you put into the blender covers your blades. You really don't want exposed blades because that just doesn't like blend as well and things start flying everywhere and it's kind of ugly and disgusting. So what we're going to do is I'll grab little skizzies and I'm going to cut off a couple of rose pieces. I think I'm going to start with 3 and see whether or not that will be enough to give us what we want. I'm going to throw something out there too. Roses in some cases can be poisonous, so this is something that in large amounts we do not want to consume a lot of. Use it sparingly, and of course drink responsibly in whatever that you're doing. So long as you're not consuming it in large amounts, it's okay for you. It's okay. So what I'm going to do is just I'm gonna pluck some flowers. I'm gonna pluck them all off. I'm gonna throw them in my blender. She loves me. She loves me not. She loves me. She totally does. He loves me. He loves me not. He loves me. He loves me not. He loves me. He loves me not. I don't want those ugly bits. But he doesn't love me either. They love me. Do they? Oh my god. Please rip. They love me. They love me not. 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 They love me. They do. At least somebody does. I'll say I have no idea what to do with those little rose scraps aside from composting them. So do that if you can. Now, I'm gonna shake this around a little bit. I'm gonna pour enough Blanco tequila to cover the blades. If I have enough of it. I do. I have just enough Blanco tequila. That bottle of Hornitos is gone. And I'll wind up cleaning the bottle and using it for something else. Now what we'll do, pop this on. Ugh. Make sure it's all on there properly. Move this off to the side. Thank you for being a good sport. We'll come back to you later. And blend, baby! Blend! Blend! Plug into the bar, damn you. Thank you very much for complying. This is not a very good blender. I would not recommend this. It's just very old, and that's all that I have right now. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna blend this, not to the point where it's like a pulp. We just want to get things integrated. We want to blend this to the point where things begin to get a little bit rough, but we don't want to pulse the heck out of it. We're not looking for a rose slushy. We're not looking for, you know, like shrapnel or anything like that. We want just enough to break things apart and allow those rose oils to go into the Blanco tequila. So I'll put this on grind or pulse mode and go till I feel it's necessary to stop. There we go. That's all we really want to do. Check out that. Only a little bit of blending. It's completely changed color. It's exactly what we're trying to go for here. I see Afra saying, "Blend, damn you!" Meet Eclipse Studio Paint. That's so good. That's such a good reference. Gosh. I feel like the amount of times that I've struggled with some of my own like tools for graphic design and otherwise just completely embodies that energy. My goodness. I know, for those of you watching on my side, I know Afris has a whole... Afris, you've got a whole, like, theming around your avatar and whatnot, and I love, like, the art that I see you putting on Twitter and stuff, or just the various different things that you're working on. So if you're into art, or if you're into anything in the VTubing space, please go feel free to check out Afris Highwind. Very fun streams, too. I'm a lurker, so I don't say too much, but I pop in every once in a while to... I would say to say hi, but because I'm lurking, I haven't said hi at all, so... saying it internally. Anyways, so we're gonna take this rose-infused tequila. I'm gonna grab a different container for it because it looks like a slightly different color from the batch that I did originally. You're unlabeled. We're gonna put that through, not necessarily a strainer, just a fine mesh strainer. not a filter or anything, strainer. So we can get all the rose particles out and put things within. I see Annie saying there's a reason there's a blender. Fun. It's true. There's a reason there's a blender. I see E's Animation Studio popping in too saying, hello, hello E. Good evening to you. Welcome to our bar. We're making rose stuff. Oh, there we go. Get it all in there. All in there. And then naturally, we don't want to let any of that go to waste. So let's give it a little press. If you're running a bar, please don't use your fingers. Use a nut milk bag or something. I'm at my home bar and studio, so I can do whatever I want. Within reason. Within reason. There's a rose off my hand. Afra says, thanks! I actually have a version 2 coming out. No way! And I'm debuting it in a marathon this weekend, but I also have wonderful artists and friends in my corner. That's super cool! Man, I look forward to checking that out. That's exciting. I see E saying I'm out of hiding now, but how have you been? Me? I'm alright. Went to Alaska, came back from Alaska, survived the bears. I did not actually see any bears, which is probably a good thing, but I really wanted to see the bears. So here is just a very rough, lightly fine filtered rose-infused tequila. I actually have 2 batches of this, and one is a little bit more of a color, a little more of a red color than the other, but that's actually indicative of something else, which I'm gonna show you all as I mix the cocktail over here. This is 1 part. We're gonna need 1 other ingredient prepared ahead of time, and that's acid-adjusted orange juice. This recipe calls for 2 ounces. I'm gonna prepare a single ounce. I'm gonna prepare a 2-ounce batch just to kind of further portray what it is that we're working with here. And actually what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do it in, I think, 100 milliliters, because to acid adjust your OJ, you'll take 500, you'll do 5, for every 500 grams of orange juice, you will add 16 grams of citric acid and 10 grams of malic acid. I'll write that up on the board for anybody who wants to copy that formula for later. This is from one of the Death & Co books that I have. So, per 500 grams orange juice, add 16 grams of citric acid and 10 grams of malic acid. The idea here is we are adding extra acid to the orange juice in order to kind of course correct for the general variability that happens in fruits in general. A lot of different, there are a ton of different types of oranges out there. You've got your cara cara oranges, your blood oranges, your navel oranges, your sweet oranges, your bitter oranges, your oranges, your blue oranges and whatnot. And because just there is nuance to trees and nature and whatnot, sometimes you want to course correct with acid in order to get the flavor that we're looking for. In this case, this adds a little bit of citric acid, which is the acid that you will most find in lemons, and malic acid, an acid that is most common in green apples, to get something that makes the orange juice taste a little bit more sour, but a bit more like orange too, in sort of a kind of an approximate kind of way. So I'm gonna need an orange with some orange juice, and I'm gonna juice it and see how much juice I get out of it. What I'll do is I will grab my scale from over here, and I'm gonna move my bar mat a little bit because I'm not convinced that the bar mat provides a very good surface for the scale to work with. So I'm gonna move that forward a little bit. So I've got some space back here, a nice level surface. I'll put my juicer on top of it, pair it out, give this a cut. I'll just juice my oranges. Yeah. I'll juice my oranges. There we go. I see E saying, or what was it? Was it talking about Alaska? Oh, how is Alaska? Don't they pay you to move there? They do. I don't know if they specifically pay you to move there, but it was nice. It was actually very temperate while we were over there, surprisingly so. But there was also, I remember seeing signs up there. Apparently Alaska just signed like a big infrastructure bill. So they're basically paying people to come out to build all the roads and stuff up there. And even while we were on like the very touristy vacation spots, there were a lot of people up there doing like, this is their summer job. They fly out to Alaska. They work at the cruise ports and stuff, and they get paid pretty good money for it. And then when the cruising season is over, they go back home to Florida or New Jersey or Wyoming or elsewhere. All right. So if you recall, I initialized my scale to the weight of this apparatus here. So I'm gonna see how much orange juice I have. Actually, you know what we need to do? Forget that. Instead, we're going to measure this strained. So this is specifically a ratio of strained orange juice. So I'll put this through a fine mesh sieve, and we'll see how many grams of orange juice pop out the other side. So let me get a different container. This one. Now I will pair it to this one. I'm gonna use another fine mesh strainer to fine mesh strain our orange juice out. Let's see how many grams we got. There we go. There we go. Okay, so we've got about 63.6 grams of orange juice. We're gonna add some acid to adjust for that. And we have 63.6 grams. Let's do some math over here, shall we? How much do we need? How much do we need? We have 63.6 grams, which means we are gonna take that and do some calculations. Calculations. 3.6 grams to that, so 500 to 16. We'll take 63.6 times 16. No, that's the other way around. I don't remember how to do this. Oh, that was it. 16. I'm having a hard time with math right now. I do 63.6. I need to do this a different way. 500 per 16 grams. I have 63.6. How much of this do I have? There we go. That helps me out visually. 63.6 times 16 equals that, divided by 500 equals, can we get 2.02 G's of this, so about 2. And then we do, gotta clear my thing a little bit. 636 divided by 500 is 1.2. 1.2 grams. There we go. Did you get all that? So I have about 63 grams of orange juice. We are going to add to that, wake up scale, a little bit of each of these acids. I use tiny little stirrers to get that amount. Let's first go with our citric acid, which we need about 2 grams of. So I'm going to wait till this gets up to about 65.6 on my scale here. Get off there. I need to be at 65. 65. If you want to, by the way, I'm only making sure I go through all the details in mathematics here because I want you to know how to make your own acid digestive stuff. You can pair this stuff ahead of time in bulk. It's a thing you can do. We got 64.4. Got 64.6. See, it's about 0.3, 0.2-ish grams for each thing here. 65. 63, I want 65.6. Almost there. Almost there. One more scoop. All right, little tiny more scoop. Little tiny more scoop, please. Thank you. 65.6. Great. That's all the citric acid we need. Now let's add some malic acid. Avarice, did you get all that? No, but I'm eager and excited anyways. I love the energy. I love that energy. Trust me. The only thing that you have to do, if you were at the bar, actually, is to just enjoy the drink and enjoy the experience. So now we want to add like 1.2 grams, so I'll wait till this gets to 66.8. Let's add this. That wasn't, we got 60 point, there we go. Okay. Need 0.8 on the scale. 0.8 on the scale, please. Point it on the scale. Almost. A little bit more. A little bit more. Teensy bit more. There we go. That's good. All right, cool. Here we got, my scale is reading, do the math, 65.6, 66.6, 66.8. My scale is reading 66.8. So now all we gotta do, stir it all together, and we've got properly acid-adjusted orange juice. There we go. Adaska says, I'm loving your energy. I'm actually on the edge of my seat for these. I'm glad to hear it. Honestly, this is fun chemistry. Cocktail chemistry is really fun because you can taste exactly what you mix with. It's really fun. You get to put this stuff in your mouth. Isn't that exciting? I think it is. So let's taste a little bit of our acid-adjusted orange juice. Ugh. Oh my god, wow. Oh, jeez. So it tastes like a lemon. But it's like, imagine the acidity level of a lemon, but it's an orange instead. Like, it doesn't taste like a lemon, but it hits you like one. It's almost a little lime forward too, honestly. That's, oh god, man. Oh my gosh. My favorite part of the job is putting things in my mouth. That's why I continue to do this, honestly. So, actually, we didn't wind up tasting the Rose Forward Blanco Tequila either. And I would compare to the regular one, but I ran out of the bottle, so, oops. So, as opposed to being very agave forward, very, very noticeable odor, like a lot of tequilas are, there's a dryness there, and a bitterness that's been introduced by the rose there. I'll say too, there is the slightest bits of rosiness that you get from actually blending rose petals. I think you need to do a little bit more like extraction work to get like those rose oils out of things, or a much more prominent like maceration technique. The other way that you can do this, aside from using a blender, is if you have access to liquid nitrogen, you stick the rose in there, you crinkle it up, and then you put it in your drink. And I don't have any liquid nitrogen, so that's just not what I'm working with right now. So what we're gonna do is grab ourselves a shaking apparatus, and we're gonna shake an ounce of our rose tequila in with an ounce of our acid-adjusted orange juice. We don't need a lot of ice in here, because there's not a lot of liquid. And then we'll put this into a glass, we'll garnish it with a little rosebud, and we'll call it a day, because I'm done after this. Last call, last drink. Right? That's how bars work, right? Anyways, to our glass, let's grab ourselves a measure and a jigger. I want to grab one of the nice ones. Here you are. Yeah, there we go. Let's do the rose one first, right? Let's add a single ounce of rose. Oh my god, what am I saying? A single ounce of rose-infused, or rather, rose-blended Blanco tequila. Sorry, microphone. I tipped you a little bit. And then we'll add an ounce, or 30 milliliters, of our acid-adjusted orange juice. An ounce of acid-adjusted orange juice. Now, one of the things that it's hard to appreciate from here, but I'm gonna recreate in one of my other glasses over here, is a really cool phenomenon that you've seen here at the Bar with an X before, but you've never seen it with a rose. So, this is really cool. Roses, if you didn't know already, are also pH indicators. So if you notice how this rose-infused tequila has a very noticeable pink color to it. Let me bring this down just a tad. When roses get acidic, they will turn more red. When they get more basic, they'll turn more yellow. So to illustrate this, let's take some of our pure citric acid, not the orange juice, because that's naturally gonna discolor things. And let's add a little bit of citric acid to the solution, right? I'll add a little bit on top, and we'll see how it changes as we go over time. Put a little bit in there, and as we stir, you might notice that it is changing color. Really changing color. There we go. It looks a hell of a lot more like a rose now than it did previously. So roses are pH indicators, and that's one of the other really cool tricks that you can do with cocktails. I get to put this in my mouth too. It's not gonna taste very good, but this compared to this is the difference between acidic rose blended Blanco tequila and I guess like neutral base rose blended Blanco tequila. I actually have 2 batches of this. This one I made a couple days ago, and it's a little bit more red. So I think the air in my apartment might be like a little bit acidic, oddly enough. Isn't that kind of cool? How sour is this though? It's honestly not too bad. It's really not bad at all. Anyways, we'll dump this and move on to the mixing part. I see Afra saying, I know you ain't asking me. I've only ever had a drink at a bar once in my life, and it was like last year. That's okay. You don't have to be drinking, by the way, to enjoy some of this stuff. There is an incredibly, there's a really cool movement happening among, I say younger people, but I am a part of the younger people, where people are aware that alcohol is a poison, right? So honestly, why would you want to go out and like specifically put poison in your body? Instead, you know what? Why don't you do things non-alcoholic? Actually, here at the Bar with an X, I have 1 non-alcoholic spirit, and I want to start mixing with more of these because you don't need alcohol to have a good time. And dare I say, alcohol is not a requirement for damn good drinks either. And that's something that I hope to spend a lot more time on in the future because I think that it's a very important thing, especially for our health and stuff too. Anyways, I'm gonna grab a strainer, get that ready. Let's take this and combine them together a little bit. Gives us a very, very quick shake. We just want to add some air to this. All right, that's all we wanted from that. Break apart. There we go. There we go. There we go. There we go. Get all in there. Don't need this anymore. Now, let's grab ourselves a chilled glass. We're gonna prepare a garnish and we're gonna put everything together. I'm gonna grab just a couple of things. We're gonna need champagne. We're gonna need a rosebud. And I'm gonna use this guy. We'll take off a little, couple of pieces from this rose. Just enough to expose the bud down beneath. Don't need those. Excuse-moi. There we go. I basically just took one of the roses. I took a couple of petals off. Just a couple of them. To make it a little bit tiny. A little bit tiny. This is going to be our garnish. This is the champagne that goes on top of it. Now, let's grab our chilled glass and watch the magic happen. I see Adaska saying, BRB, gotta get the kids to bed. No problem, no problem. I forgot to read that when it first came out. My sincerest of apologies. Let's get it. Chill glass. Chill glass. Oh. Da 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 da. Chill glass. All right, let's get this at a distance so we can actually see what's happening over here. Please, please, a little bit higher. Thank you. There we go. Cocktail angle. So, what we're gonna do is pour this in, then we're gonna drop our rosebud on top of it, then we're gonna add the champagne, so we can see if we can get a little bit of a effervescent bubbling on top of our rosebud. First we pour. Then we're gonna very gently put our rosebud on the inside. Oop, screeching sound. Hello there. There we go. On the inside. Let's turn that so you can see the little rosebud a little bit more. Let's pop the champagne and pour it on top. Hello there. Hello there. Pop the champagne indeed, Cameron. Please do. Pour it over top. Embrace the bubbly. Woo! Hello there. It's okay. It's all part of the plan. It's okay to make a mess. Have fun with it. It's bubbly and it's exciting. We'll let that chill out for a moment. There's a rose in there somewhere. I promise you that. Oh, let me dry off my hands a little bit. It's bubbly. Chill glass to the theme of DuckTales. It's a good one. DuckTales. So I see my liquid level. Let's try to get this up to the top. I don't want to just serve you bubbles. I'm a good bartender. I give you the good stuff. Give you the good stuff. Bubbles out of here. All the things. Where's my rosebud? If I can see the rosebud, I've got enough. Where's my rosebud? There you are. There's the rosebud. There's probably a better way of doing this, but I don't know what it is. Not yet. I'll figure it out. There we go. This is our Divine Rose Cocktail. It's got a gradient to it, so if you want to kind of agitate it ever so slightly, just to make sure everything is together, that'll be good. There we go. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, it's gonna be a good one. Let's put this away. Put it down. So this is... oh, the Divine Rose Keyblade Cocktail. It's inspired by Kingdom Hearts. You know, you get this from Belle in Beast Castle, the Hollow Bastion. It's got a rose on it. Let's give it a taste. Oh man, is that fizzy. Ooh, I like that so much. That is a tart kind of mimosa riff with a slight dryness from those flavors of the rose. Also, there's tequila in it, and you can tell there is tequila in it, and I actually really like how that pairs with the orange juice and the champagne. Wow. I gotta do tequila and champagne more often. That's lovely. It's all also very biting. I'm not a big fan of sour drinks, but this is sour in a way that's appreciable. The champagne kind of dilutes that sourness down a little bit, and it actually kind of changes the chemistry of the drink a little bit. I don't know exactly what the levels of acidity are in champagne, for example, but as you can see, as opposed to the pinkness in the rose-colored tequila, this is all yellow and stuff now. The only remaining red is on that little rosebud on top, which I feel like I should have applied to the drink after the fact, but living you learn. This is pretty good. Those notes of rose are like an afterthought here. It is not super prominent because a lot of that flavor kind of gets lost within the acidity levels of the orange juice. This is a very sparkly mimosa with a slight tequila sort of leafy bite to it. And it's very tasty. It's very tasty, but it's more towards the sour side. I could see this being improved with, honestly, a little bit more flavor on the rose. And actually, something that I was thinking about when I was workshopping this was to add a little bit of rose water to it, but I didn't do it. But I kind of want to now. So if you'll vibe with me for just a little bit extra, I want to see if we can take this cocktail even higher by adding a smidge of rose water to it. I just got to go into my liquor cabinet to get it. It could be cool. It could be cool, but it might not be. This is why we test. This is why we test. A little bit of live mixology action. So rose water, like orange blossom water, makes its way into a couple of different cultures of cuisine and stuff. This you don't need to use a lot of. Dare I say you probably don't want to use a lot of it. So I'm going to add just a 1/4 teaspoon of rose water to test with and see where we get with that. Just to see. And if it really improves things, I'll probably update the recipe. I was thinking about this originally, and I just didn't wind up doing it, and I can't remember why. But, ooh, that is really, whew. Have you ever smelled like rose, oil before, or rose products? It's rose water. It is so prominently rose. That is more prominently rose now. Did I mix that? Okay. Let's check it out. Live mixology in the flesh. Live workshopping. Can we make it taste better? Yeah. Okay. Yep. That is much better. I'm going to update that recipe. Because that tastes a heck of a lot better. That is so much more prominent on the rose. My goodness, where's my pen? I'm going to write myself a note for that to change the recipe a little bit. Add 1/4 teaspoon rose water. That is really good. So whereas before, it's like completely transformative. This is wild. Whereas before, I was getting basically really sour mimosa vibes. By adding just a smidge of rose water, all of those flavors of rose have come to the forefront. It's still not super prominent, but now there is a very noticeable rosy herbaceousness to it. And that flavor of rose from the rose water is actually bolstering the kind of cream, almost buttery flavors that personally I get from this particular champagne. It's honestly it's more exciting than it was previously. There's more going on in that I really appreciate. Now, as opposed to it being just like it almost leveled it up just a little bit with a little bit of rose water. That's one of the other things that I like to do here at the Bar with an X. Take cocktails that can use a level up and level them up. So live right here, I've leveled up my own cocktail. So cheers to that, I guess. In any case, that is what I have for y'all this evening. Or actually, let me I forgot to give a little bit of inspiration of how this Divine Rose came to be. I really wanted to put rose in a drink, so I put the rose in a drink. And try as I might, I really couldn't find a lot of, there wasn't much else to pull from, the inspiration of Kingdom Hearts as it was. Kind of going into the, what was happening in the world of Beauty and the Beast. There's the embellishment, there's the color on the Keyblade of being kind of yellow in style. You've got the keychain being the rose bud, not the rose hip, the rose bud in this case. And just Belle having her beautiful yellow dress and whatnot. I kind of took a little, this is a more loosely inspired drink as opposed to some of the other ones that we covered this evening. But alas, I've called it Divine Rose. And that is how it is going to stay. So, to everybody out there, that was the final cocktail that I've got for y'all this evening in our journey through Kingdom Hearts-inspired cocktails, all of them themed to different Keyblades that you find throughout the game. I'll give you a little summary of where we've been, as well as a reminder of what the recipes and stuff are, and then give you a little bit of goodbyes, last calls, and we'll see you all next time, of course. So, going back to the very beginning, let me cap off some of these other containers over here. If there's a mod still awake out there, can we do the next command so we can get back to the first cocktail? As I do a little bit of cleanup. Put things back over here. And rearrange things. What order did we do things in? Come here, microphone. We did you first. Then we did you. Then we did this guy. Don't fall over, please. Thank you so much. Then we did the crabs. And then we have our Divine Rose in the background. There we go. Okie dokie. So, to bring things back to the very beginning, the first cocktail that I shared with y'all this evening is one called Simple and Clean, aka the Kingdom Key. This is a clear, clarified, coconut-forward cocktail that is exactly what the name implies. It is simple and it is clean. You can create this by combining 3 ounces of coconut milk with 1 ounce each of coconut rum and just regular white rum with a bit of citric acid and adjusting with a little bit of saline solution. That solution is going to curdle, and if you give it enough time, it is going to completely separate it. Run it through a filter, and it will come out completely clear on the other side with very subtle notes of coconut. The ice is completely melted, so it is even more diluted than it was earlier, but it is still prominently coconut. It's like drinking coconut water if coconut water were a little less concentrated, but it's a cocktail and it's got 2 ounces of rum in it, so you're gonna get everything you want out of that. This one is garnished with a little bit of silver leaf in the shape of Mickey Mouse's face, which is the keychain that you see on the original Keyblade. The next cocktail that we covered was the 3 Wishes Keyblade cocktail. This here is garnished with a little bit of blue sugar that honestly it looks like it's kind of melting and dissolving into the glass right now, but to be reminiscent of the 3 Wishes Keyblade from Kingdom Hearts. This is a 3 ingredient drink for the 3 wishes that you have on the Keyblade, consisting of a bit of Turmeric-Infused Gin with 1.5 ounces of that, a single ounce of Galliano Liqueur, a sweet, almost licoricey spearmint gum type liqueur, if I had to describe it, with a 1/2 ounce of Gentian liqueur, or Suze is the brand that I was using in this case over here. Combined together, it has a sort of kind of sweet forwardness to it. There are some leafy and pine notes coming from that turmeric infusion, as well as a slight bitter aftertone coming from the Suze in there. Ultimately, kind of on the sweeter side of things, especially when you add the blue sugar garnish on the outside. Honestly, I was up front when I said this earlier. I did not do very well on my garnish game here. There's a certain way to adhere various different garnishes to the side of the glass. I opted for a little bit of sugar syrup this time to be that adhesion, but my glass is sticky. The garnish wasn't actually sticking to it, and I kind of failed in that regard. So what I would do next time is I would kind of dehydrate things a little bit further, grind up the sugar crystals a little bit more finely so that a sprinkling effect could be used on a fine mesh sieve to accomplish a very similar goal, while painting whatever embellishments you want on the glass using either sugar syrup or a little bit of some acid, like, for example, lemon juice. But that was the 3 Wishes cocktail. The third cocktail of the evening was the Pumpkinhead Keyblade cocktail. This is a candy, sickeningly sweet reference to Halloween itself. This overall kind of tastes like... It's a lot more marshmallow forward than it was previously when it was still kind of cold. This kind of tastes like candy corn in a way, but with a little bit of adjustment from a bit of pumpkin spice cream liqueur made here in Pennsylvania. It's honestly not that good, but it is sweet, and if you give yourself the right mentality, it is perfect for the time of Halloween. The balancing is not there, at least from a craft cocktail perspective, in my opinion. It could probably be improved upon, but if you're the kind of person who loves like sweetness on Halloween, this is exactly up your alley. It is garnished with one of those candy corn pumpkin things. It was stabbed with a little like skewer there. To make this recipe, you'll combine 2 ounces of honey syrup with 1 ounce each of Pinnacle whipped vodka and vanilla vodka, as well as a 1/2 ounce of pumpkin spice cream liqueur if you can get your hands on it, or if you make your own, plus a bit of food dye to color correct and make it a little bit more black. Shake this all together, double strain it out. I think I forgot to double strain it, but that's how you make that. The penultimate cocktail of the evening was the Crabclaw. We had a raid from Afros Highwind pop in during that time. This drink is inspired by the Keyblade that you get after closing the keyhole in Atlantica. It is garnished with an orange crab, which I also showed you how to make as well. This is a 3-ingredient cocktail using a nori or seaweed-infused Amontillado sherry combined with some dry curacao, which is orange flavor basically, with a bit of some elderflower liqueur as well. To make this, combine 2 ounces of your Nori-Infused Amontillado sherry with a 1/2 ounce each of dry curacao or elderflower liqueur. Stir and strain that over a big ol' ice sphere or an ice cube, and then garnish it with an orange crab, which you can make by cutting a slice off of an orange, making some little pincers out of the skin pieces that you cut creatively, and putting a couple cloves in there for the eyes, or like apple seeds if you have access to them. That might be a little more crab-like, but I don't have any apples right now, so I just use the clove. It modifies the smell to be a little more cabinet spicy, if you will. Overall, this was probably one of my favorite cocktails of the evening. It is complex, and it taught me something about infusions, like the Nori infusion, which didn't actually take very long too. We did it right here on stream. We also did the turmeric infusion on stream too for the 3 Wishes cocktail. This is or like sweet orange evolving into an umami kind of savory drink that ends with notes of like roasted nuts almost. Even as it's been sitting here for a little bit, diluting over time, the flavor has changed to be a bit more on those aromatic notes of the orange dry curacao in there, leaning into a bit more of those almost sour-ish notes from the Amontillado sherry. Exactly what fruit that is, I can't quite articulate to you right now, but it's a very interesting cocktail that evolves over time as you sip it. And then lastly, we covered the Divine Rose cocktail, which is a cocktail inspired by the Divine Rose Keyblade from Kingdom Hearts as well. You get it in Hollow Bastion. It's themed to Beauty and the Beast. And of course, you've got the characteristic rosebud on there. It is created by first blending rose petals with some Blanco tequila and basically taking some of those oils and ripping them out of the petals and putting them forcibly, ever so, into the Blanco tequila that lies below it. You combine that rose blended Blanco tequila with an ounce of acid adjusted orange juice, which has been adjusted with a bit of citric acid and a bit of malic acid to kind of course correct for the acidity levels of an orange. This is a bit more like the acidity levels of a lemon with a slight flavor adjustment to that of green apple from the malic acid, and making it taste ultimately more like an orange would be, taking into account that there's a bunch of different types of oranges out there. Your mileage is going to vary with your citrus levels, your sweetness levels, your sourness levels. That's what acid adjusting can be used for. Take an ounce of your rose blended Blanco tequila with an ounce of your acid adjusted orange juice and top that all the way off with some champagne and garnish it with a rosebud, and you will have a divine rose cocktail, shaking those first two ingredients to kind of introduce some air and then adding the champagne on top afterwards. Don't shake your carbonated ingredients together. Your shaker will explode, and I wouldn't recommend that for anybody, really. Whew! And that's Keyblade cocktails. That's what I got for y'all. Oh man, what a ride that was. Thank you everybody so much, by the way, for joining me along for this journey here. This was a fun one. Oh, despite the fact that there were only 5 cocktails this time, we're at the 3-hour mark. There was a lot of technique to be covered in this one in particular. Speak specifically, we used our nitrogen infusion technique in a whipped cream maker. We used the blended infusion technique for the rose cocktail. We used just a very simple cold infusion technique with the seaweed and the Amontillado sherry. There was a lot of infusion and whatnot over here. I hope you learned something along the way. If you didn't learn something, maybe there's something that you can teach me the next time that you come around. It'd be fun. I see Imichar saying hydrate after all that. Thank you so much, Imichar, for the great reminder. I appreciate those reminders, because when you're up here drinking with your alcohol and whatnot, you gotta try to make sure you remain hydrated, or else you'll be in for a very interesting rest of your evening or after the day. So now that we're back here, I appreciate everybody who stuck along until the bitter end, or dare I say, actually, this last cocktail was a bit on the sour side, so to the sour side over here. This was a cocktail showcase by the Bar with an X, the little home bar that Cameron with an X calls his studio space as well. We're here playing video games, delving into the world of the games that we so love, and then coming back out of them for a little bit, back to the bar to do some mixology, to do a couple of experimentations, try to make some flavor combos that people have never heard of, or explore them the way that people have already been familiarized with, and create some cocktails bringing forth the influence from our favorite characters, concepts, locales, weapons, or otherwise in the form of something that you can put in your mouth, sip, savor, and in some case, look at. I think the orange crab in this one was actually pretty cool to look at. But that's what we do here. If that's the kind of stuff that you enjoy, then by all means, feel free to follow along for more. There's a blog up on my website. I share stuff on Twitter sometimes. Don't go to the Twitter. You don't need to go there. We have a Discord server where we're constantly talking about various different cocktail techniques, where I'm sharing things like cocktail competitions that come up, various other things that I find in my journeys, as well as the other tips and tricks that other bartenders in our community and cocktail enthusiasts alike decide to throw in there. We're a small community, but we're growing up and we're rather close-knit too, and we'd love to have you a part of that as well. In any case, and if you want things that are a lot more short form and easily digestible, you can go to YouTube, Twitch, or YouTube, Instagram, or TikTok. You've got all the shorts and stuff on there. It's everything that you see here, but instead of 3 hours, it's if there's 5 cocktails, it's only going to be about 5 minutes of your time. So if that's the way that you consume your content, I have absolutely no judgments for you there. Personally, that's the way that I'd be doing it too. Then I don't have to be talking as much. In any case, thank you everybody so much out there. This is the end of the stream. I'll see you all again on Monday, where we are gonna pick off with a new series of playing Kingdom Hearts Chain of Memories. There will be cocktails. There will be original cocktails too, but you just have to stick around for when we make those announcements and stuff. To everybody out there, thanks again. And to everybody, if the moon is shining where you are, have a wonderful rest of your night. Thank you for joining us here at the Bar with an X. If the sun is shining, have a wonderful rest of your morning. Maybe kick it off with an acid-adjusted rose-infused mimosa of sorts. And I hope the rest of your day is great. Dawn, evening, twilight, doesn't matter where you are. I look forward to seeing you all next time. But until then, y'all, cheers and bye.